The Dragon Gate's declaration this time will not rest until one of them is dead. Moreover, it might be the kind of declaration where I will slash you even if I can't beat you. The experts of the Dragon Gate are too fierce. They don't care about death at all. I saw it with my own eyes. The 8 assassins of the Secret Thorn sect fought with the 4 experts of the Dragon Gate, and 5 of them were killed by the experts of the Dragon Gate. It's too terrifying. They exchanged injuries for injuries, and their lives for lives. Next, the Dragon King might have to fight to the death. The Dragon King is completely furious. This time, the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect and the Secret Thorn Sect took the initiative to sneak attack the Dragon Gate, but they were killed by 11 Infant Realm experts. According to the Dragon King's character, even if the Dragon Gate is destroyed, the 3 immortal sects will suffer heavy losses. The entire Jianghu was in complete chaos. All the immortal sects' martial artists were discussing the enmity between the Dragon Gate and the 3 great immortal sections. Especially when the performance of the Dragon Gate's experts was known by everyone took a deep breath. The Dragon Gate's experts were not afraid of death and fought to the death, which shocked everyone. No matter what, even if the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect could win this war, they would definitely pay a heavy price. However, on the Jianghu website, all the martial artists didn't think that the Dragon Gate would be a match for the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect. Especially now that they had added the treacherous Thorn Clan, it was even worse. In the Yaoding region, when the disciples and descendants of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect saw the Dragon Gate's reply on the Jianghu website, they clamored to destroy the Dragon Gate. If it wasn't for the agreement between the immortals and gods, your little Dragon Gate would have already been destroyed. All the immortals and gods would have been killed. What Dragon King? We have already slaughtered the Dragon King. That's right. Today is just the beginning. Soon, your Dragon Gate will pay the price for what happened in the past and kill all the powerhouses of your Dragon Gate. It would be great if there was no agreement between the immortals and gods. Then, our 2 immortal sects would be able to directly destroy the Dragon Gate. The disciples of the 2 immortal sects were very confident in their own strength. Tens of millions of people posted mocking and disdainful posts on Jianghu. They even said that if there was no agreement between the immortals and gods, the Dragon Gate would have been destroyed a long time ago. The other immortal sects didn't say anything. They just quietly watched on the internet. Next, there was no doubt that the disciples of the Dragon Gate and the 2 immortal sects were going to fight to the death. The Dragon Gate is completely no match for the 2 immortal sects, or even the 3 immortal sections. It's a stupid move to fight to the death. Some immortal gods thought to themselves when they saw the Dragon Gate's declaration. In terms of strength, the Dragon Gate was still much weaker. Today, the Dragon Palace will appear. Anyone who offends us will be killed. Today, the Dragon Palace will appear. Anyone who offends us will be killed. Suddenly, the immortal gods' voices resounded throughout the entire Jianghu. 7 voices, a total of 7 voices, resounded throughout the entire Jianghu. Just like when the immortal sects appeared, they used their powerful strength to spread their voices throughout the entire Jianghu. They announced their return to the world. Today, it was the same for the Dragon Palace. When this voice rang out, all the experts of the immortal sects in the Jianghu suddenly stood up with shocked expressions on their faces. 7 voices, 7 completely different voices, 7 immortal gods. Which faction is the Dragon Palace? How come I've never heard of it before? 7 immortal gods, 7 immortal gods. All the immortal gods from the immortal sects looked into the distance with shock on their faces, their eyes shining. No, the Dragon Palace? The Dragon Sect? What relationship do they have? Why did they say that anyone who offends us should be killed? At this moment, some of the immortal gods thought of what the immortal gods had said, and their eyes were filled with shock. Dragon Palace? Dragon Gate? And that Dragon King? If this was a power, then this was simply too shocking. Some of the immortal sect disciples also listened to the domineering and majestic voices in a daze. A terrifying power had appeared out of nowhere. Chapter 795, Retaliated with a Tooth for a Tooth. Once upon a time, when the immortal sects appeared, their awe-inspiring voice spread throughout the entire Jianghu. Now that the Dragon Palace has appeared, the 7 immortal gods have shaken the world. Dragon Palace? With the appearance of the world at this time and the mention of any enemies who have offended you, killing them should be the power of the Dragon King. Among the 7 immortal gods, there isn't the voice of the Dragon King or the female immortal god beside him. If this Dragon Palace is also the power of the Dragon King, then this Dragon Palace is simply too terrifying. The immortal god's voice spread throughout the entire Jianghu, and all the Jianghu warriors listened to the voices with faces full of shock. Very soon, the entire Jianghu online was in an uproar. Just a moment ago, everyone was still discussing the Dragon Gate and the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine and Immortal Sect. Now, in the blink of an eye, the Dragon Palace had appeared. A force that was very likely to be the Dragon Palace had arrived, and this caused an uproar in the entire Jianghu. The Dragon King now has at least 9 immortal gods. Even if it's to fight against the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect, the immortal gods have the strength to do so. It's really unbelievable. This is too crazy. It seems that this war is not as bad as we expected. There might be a change. If the Dragon Palace is really the Dragon King's force, then it seems that the Dragon King is really angry. All the martial artists in the Jianghu were talking about the appearance of the Dragon Palace. Meanwhile, in the Yaoding Holy Doctor Medicine Immortal Sect, the immortal gods of the 2 immortal sects gathered together with solemn faces. There are at least 9 immortal gods. This Dragon Gate is really beyond our expectations. No matter what, since we have made a move, we will fight to the end. So what if there are 9 immortal gods? Now we are competing with the strength of the disciples of the Dragon Palace. I don't believe that the disciples of the Dragon Palace will be more powerful than us. So what if we contact the Thorn Clan and drag the Thorn Clan to our side? The Dragon Palace? Hee. In the main hall, the immortals said with cold faces. The appearance of the Dragon Palace had indeed made them a lot more solemn, but since they were enemies, they were not afraid at all. Moreover, the 9 immortals were far inferior to them. Especially since they were supreme beings with superior level immortals, they weren't afraid even if a battle between immortal gods broke out. Moreover, with the agreement between immortal gods, they could only fight among disciples. With a 1,000-year foundation, the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect had enough confidence and strength. Since we've made a move, we can't take it back. Let's fight. In the treacherous Spike clan, 4 to 5 immortals gathered in a shadowy palace. They spoke with slight regret. This time, the treacherous Spike clan had interfered. 8 of the Infant Realm experts had been killed. Now that the Dragon Palace had suddenly appeared, they would have to suffer revenge. It was not worth it. However, as an assassin clan that had been established for thousands of years, they had their own professional rules. Just as the entire Jianghu was in an uproar, in a villa along the coast of River City, Wang Xian stood at the top and looked in the direction of the Dragon Palace with a faint smile on his face. There were 2 more immortals in the Dragon Palace, Ao Nu and Ao Xia. Under the energy of the immortal-level aquatic creature, they had finally stepped into the realm of immortals. On the horizon, a group of figures flew over at a terrifying speed. Ao Jian had brought the remaining 50 Infant Realm experts of the Golden Swordfish clan here. Including those who had just arrived, there were a total of 70 Infant Realm experts. What could not be seen by the naked eye was that beside the Golden Swordfish, more than 150 strange demons were hiding in the void. Wang Xian did not ask the other immortal-level members of the Dragon Palace to come over because it was not the time yet. Dragon King! Dragon King! The group of Dragon Palace members arrived and their hidden figures appeared immediately. A terrifying and majestic energy filled the area within 1,000 meters. There were more than 220 infant stage powerhouses in total. Among them, there were 20 half-step immortal-level existences. Dragon King, the soul returning wood has absorbed the souls of the dead draconids. All information has been collected. Mo Qinglong led the rest of the draconids and rushed over. There were more than 30 of them. At this point, more than 250 of the strongest experts in the immortal sect had gathered. All right. Wang Xian's eyes sparkled. The treacherous Spike clan is located in the Xiaoding region and belongs to the Assassin clan. There aren't many disciples under them. Ao Yao leads 70 of them to assassinate the treacherous Spike clan. As long as they are from the treacherous Spike clan, kill them all. It's the Dragon King. Ao Yao nodded his head heavily. All the other members of the Dragon Palace, follow me and head to the Yaoding region. From today onwards, the entire Yaoding will be in chaos. More than 200 infant stage powerhouses could follow the example of the Hunyuan Celestial Sect and block the city gates of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Celestial sections. However, Wang Xian would not do that. Blocking the city gates would instead make them wary and put up a defense. This time, Wang Xian wanted to make the other party tremble in fear. Let's go! Wang Xian shouted softly. He did not stay any longer and flew directly toward the area of the Celestial Sect of Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine. Let's go! Ao Yao led his men and flew toward the location of the strange thorn tribe. Hee, it's about to start. Half an hour later, Wang Xian looked into the distance with a cold smile on his face. This morning, the Holy Medicine sect had destroyed his Dragon Gate forging workshop. Tonight, it was time for all of you to pay the price. Revenge never lasts forever. Dragon King, the holy city below the Holy Medicine sect is right in front of us. There are over 10 million people in the city. All the disciples of the Holy Medicine sect live in it. The green dragon pointed to the distance and looked at the huge city. Frowning, he said, the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect's foundation is not something the Hunyuan Immortal Sect can compare to. They have an array formation in their city. Once their strength surpasses that of the infant realm, the array formation will react. No wonder the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect dares to be our enemy. Once we enter, once the battle breaks out, we will be discovered instantly, and the immortals will be able to act immediately. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with astonishment. In other words, we can only kill the disciples who leave the city. Yes, Dragon King. Among the 20 sects, the top few sects have powerful formations. Some of them can even defend against the attacks of lower-level immortals. Mo Qinglong replied with an unpleasant expression. It's fine. We will just fight them. As long as they come out, we will kill them all. The corners of Wang Xian's mouth curled up slightly. It wouldn't take too long. The city gates haven't closed yet. There are still many disciples of the Holy Medicine sect coming and going. Hee, they sure are confident. A cold smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. When the Holy Medicine sect made their move, they directly annihilated all the ordinary workers in the Longmen forging workshop. The lives of more than 100 workers should be repaid 100-fold. This was the way of war. There was no mercy. Begin the cleanup. Wang Xian and Ao Jian stood in the air. One golden swordfish after another flew rapidly toward the city gate. Chapter 796, Massacred. Let's go, let's have fun these 2 days. In a few days, there might be some danger outside. What danger? Don't tell me that the Dragon Gate still dares to block our Immortal Gate like they did with the Chaos Origin Immortal Sect? As long as they dare to come, we can directly kill them. You can't say that. Now that the Dragon Palace has appeared, we can't underestimate the power of the Dragon King. Coward, who cares about the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King? Since our Immortal Sect dares to make a move, we are not afraid at all. Let's go. That's right. Today, we can destroy the Dragon Gate forging workshop. Tomorrow, we can destroy the Dragon Gate. Humph, what Dragon King? At the gate of the holy city of the Holy Medicine and Immortal Sect, more than 10 young men dressed luxuriously, holding fans in their hands, walked out like elegant scholars. After the appearance of the immortal sect, these disciples of the immortal sect were very popular among those infatuated girls in the real world. As long as they hooked their fingers, many beautiful girls would pounce on them. This made them very proud. They didn't care too much about the grudges between the two immortal sects and the dragon sect. They had great confidence in their immortal sect. The group walked out. At the city gate, besides them, there were many disciples of the immortal sect. Some went to the outside city to deal with matters, and some went out to play. The sun had just set. From the outside, one could see that the entire sacred city was bustling with activity. People were also coming and going at the city gate. Sword slash. At this moment, a voice without any emotion suddenly came from the sky. Then, without any warning, terrifying golden lights fell toward the ground. In an instant, the 3 city gates of the sacred city shone like the setting sun. Golden sword lights fell directly from the sky. Each sword light was 1,000 meters long. When more than 10 sword lights fell, the terrifying golden lights illuminated the sky. Boom! 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 Soon, a terrifying explosion sounded. What? What a terrifying attack! Run, run! The disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect raised their heads and saw the terrifying sword rays. Their faces were filled with fear. They roared in fear and wanted to escape into the city. However, the sword rays were too fast. The disciples of the Immortal Sect who had not reached the infant realm were easily killed. It's the Dragon Gate! It's the people of the Dragon Gate! A sharp cry sounded from the south gate, and the terrified voice traveled far. The sword light disappeared one after another, leaving more than 10 gullies that were thousands of meters long. In front of the 3 city gates, more than 10 figures stood in the air. When they saw the corpses on the ground, they moved and disappeared. The people of the Dragon Gate are here for revenge. From the position of the city gate, angry roars rang out in the sacred city. The guards of the sacred city trembled and stared at the mess outside the city wall with an embarrassed expression. In less than 5 seconds, the terrifying sword light directly split the road in front of their city gate. All the disciples of the Immortal Sect at the city gate didn't resist at all and became dead souls under the sword. This made the disciples of the Immortal Sect who were about to leave the city look terrified. What a fast speed! We destroyed their forging workshop in the morning, and they came to take revenge on us in the afternoon, and they are so arrogant. Damn the Dragon Gate! How dare they kill the disciples of our Immortal Sect? Kill them! The disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect looked gloomy. They didn't expect the Dragon Gate to be so fast that they came to attack them in the afternoon. And it was still so open, so arrogant. Whoosh! 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 At this moment the immortal gods led the elders and deacons of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect and flew toward the city gate. When they saw the terrifying sword lights and corpses outside the city, their expressions turned slightly ugly. I didn't expect the Dragon Gate to counterattack so quickly. They left immediately after our city gate attacked. It seems that they were afraid that we would rush over. Hee, I thought that the Dragon Gate would be so brave and fearless. The immortals looked at the marks left by the attacks outside the city, and their eyes revealed a cold expression. However, when they saw the Dragon Gate experts leave immediately after one attack, a cold expression appeared on their faces. They didn't dare to stay here, which meant that the Dragon Gate was afraid that their experts would come out. We have a formation in the city, so don't worry. The Dragon Gate doesn't dare to stay too long because they are afraid of us, so they only dare to attack and leave quickly. If that's the case, then let's have a cat-and-mouse fight. An immortal god looked at the corpses on the ground, his voice full of coldness. Sir, should we inform all the disciples to return to the city and forbid them from leaving the city? An elder asked in a deep voice. No need. Tell all the disciples to forbid them from leaving the city. Others might think that our Holy Medicine Immortal Sect is afraid of them. Today, we will set up an inescapable net at the city gate and wait for the Dragon Gate to come again. In addition, we will spread the word on the Jianghu website that we will fight with the Dragon Gate to the end and see who will admit defeat first. Huh. But from today onwards, all disciples can only leave through the East City Gate. An immortal god sneered and flew directly towards the immortal sect. The Dragon Gate's speed of revenge was so fast. Although it was beyond their expectations, they were not worried at all. When everything was ready, it was not certain who would kill who. At this moment, the city closest to the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect was Xia City. Xia City was one of the larger and more prosperous cities in China. At the same time, it was also a city where the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect disciples were more active. In the evening, the red lights and lush greenery of the city made the entire city seem like a white night. At this time, a group of more than 30 Dragon Gate members stared coldly at the location below, sensing everyone below. "Brother Fei, can you show me how to ride a flying sword?" "Yes, Brother Fei, your sword is so handsome. Can I touch it?" "Haha, beauties, you might not know this, but I'm best at stick techniques. Do you want me to show you tonight?" How annoying. Beside a street, a few gorgeous women were standing beside a long-haired young man wearing the clothes of the Holy Doctor Immortal Sect. They were laughing and playing. That young man had a hint of arrogance on his face, and his eyes were filled with pride. Whoosh! Bang! However, in the next moment, a demonic claw directly descended from the sky and instantly crushed his body. Ah! The screams of the women could be heard. In the sky, the Draconids did not have the slightest bit of emotion as they coldly swept their gaze downwards. Once they encountered the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect, they would all be killed. However, this was only the beginning. Chapter 797, Killed 50 Nascent Soul Cultivators in one day. In the Xia City, over 30 people were killing the disciples of the Saint Medicine Immortal Sect. This action caused all the ordinary people in the Xia City to be dumbstruck. The Xia City could be considered to be within the Yaoding region. In the Xia City, who would dare to offend the disciples of the two immortal sects? Even the second generation of the richest people in the Xia City were like grandsons in front of the disciples of the immortal sections. However, today, the two disciples of the immortal sects who were showing off in Xia City were killed one by people who were hovering in the air. At this moment, it caused a huge sensation in the entire city. However, what was even more shocking was the martial artists of the pugilistic world. In the morning, the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect directly destroyed the forging workshop of the Dragon Gate. In the afternoon, the experts of the Dragon Gate directly flew to the gate of the two immortal sects and killed a group of people. They even made a move to kill the disciples of the two immortal sects in Xia City. An eye for an eye for a tooth. Revenge doesn't last overnight. It was said that the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect were directly killed by more than 1,000 people, which made everyone extremely shocked. The Dragon Gate sent out a total of about 60 Infant Realm experts. After being killed by 18 Infant Realm experts, they were actually able to send out more than 60 people. It's really terrifying. This should be the full strength of the Dragon Gate. It seems that the battle of the three immortal gates has completely started. All the experts of the Dragon Gate have come out. I wonder how the two immortal sects will deal with them. The Dragon Gate has no territory and no ordinary disciples. On the Jianghu website, all the disciples of the immortal sects read the messages and sighed. The revenge of the Dragon Gate also made all the immortal gods of the immortal sects feel fear in their hearts. There were more than 60 Infant Realm experts, and most of the immortal sects didn't have so many experts. So what if it's the Dragon Gate? They only dared to sneak attack and leave immediately. Since you want to fight, then let's fight. The Dragon Gate doesn't dare to confront our Holy Medicine Immortal Sect directly. Cowards, it won't be long before we completely exterminate you. Soon, on the Jianghu website, a group of Holy Medicine Immortal Sect disciples ridiculed and replied on the Jianghu website. Moreover, there were many such posts. Seeing the posts of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect, the rest of the disciples of the Immortal sect were also slightly silent. Indeed, the number of infant realm experts in the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect was definitely more than 60. It was even double the number of words. The reason why the Dragon Gate didn't dare to block the city gate of the Chaos Origin Immortal sect like the last time was because they were afraid of the experts of the two immortal sections. The martial artists in the martial arts world took out the strength of the Dragon Gate and the Holy Medicine Immortal sect to make a detailed comparison. From this, they came to a conclusion that the Holy Medicine Immortal sect was not comparable to the Chaos Origin Immortal sect at all. The strength of the Dragon Gate was not comparable to the two immortal sects, and there was even a huge gap between them. As for the forces in the Dragon Palace, some people guessed that those terrifying swordsmen belonged to the Dragon Palace. This post of analysis attracted the approval of many people. Your Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect underestimating the Dragon sect will have to pay a heavy price. At the position of the Chaos Origin Immortal sect, the three immortal gods listened to the information reported by their subordinates, and their faces revealed a cold expression. The result of the battle between the three immortal sects involved the Chaos Origin Immortal sect. Now, the Chaos Origin Immortal sect was considered a relatively weak existence by the disciples of the immortal sections. I'm afraid they don't know about the existence of the Dragon sect and that terrifying strange creature. It's a terrifying concealment. A middle-aged immortal god said coldly. Dragon King, all the disciples of the two immortal sects outside the Holy City have been cleaned up. The Holy City has closed two city gates and the East Gate is still open. Clearly, they are very confident in their own strength. On a mountain peak, Wang Xian stood at the top of the mountain peak. Mo Qinglong reported to Wang Xian. This is good too. Tomorrow, they will definitely set up an ambush at the East Gate. That is their territory. They are more familiar with the terrain than us. Wang Xian revealed a cold smile as he looked at the Holy City 20 kilometers away. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. No matter what, as long as their disciples from the East Gate dare to go out, they will attack. It's not certain who will ambush who. It's the Dragon King. Mo Qinglong nodded. Night had fallen, and the Jianghu internet was still bustling with activity. Within the Holy Medicine Immortal sect, the two great sects had started to set up an inescapable net at the entrance of the city. Once the Dragon Gate's experts appeared, they would definitely be able to instantly sense it and kill it. They were extremely confident that they had the strength. The two great immortal sects experts hid at the two sides of the city gate. As long as they gave the order, dozens of experts would be able to act instantly. Moreover, there were dozens of infant realm experts at the city gate that were ready to provide assistance at any time. Once the Dragon Gate powerhouses appeared, they would be completely annihilated. However, what they didn't know was that many pairs of eyes were staring at them coldly in the sky. The sky broke into dawn, and the entire sacred city was bustling with activity. Compared to the chaotic origin city, the attack of the Dragon Gate at the city gate yesterday didn't affect them too much. Except for the family members of the disciples of the immortal sect who were killed, they didn't cause much panic. This was their confidence in the strength of the immortal sect. Take the things, act according to the plan, and leave the city. At 9 o'clock in the morning, in the holy city of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect, a few infant realm experts said to the hundreds of disciples around them. Don't worry, Elder, leave it to us. I hope that the people of the Dragon Gate can kill their way over. The corners of a young disciple's mouth curled up slightly as he spoke with a face full of smiles. All right. A few elders revealed smiles on their faces as they watched them walk out. Bait, they were acting as bait. However, even if it was a bait, this group of over 100 young disciples didn't have the slightest bit of worry. Not to mention that they were holding a formation, even if there were dozens of infant realm experts lying in ambush at the side, there were still 30 to 40 infant realm experts within the city that were ready to provide assistance at any time. They had almost reached 100 infant realm experts, so what was there to be afraid of? A group of immortal sect disciples walked out from the east gate of the sacred city with smiles on their faces. The group of people walked out and just happened to be facing the sunlight. They walked forward with their heads held high and swaggered over 1,000 people, their gazes sizing up their surroundings. Where are the experts of the Dragon Gate? Why haven't they come out yet? Could they be afraid? Our trap this time is very obvious, but it doesn't matter. Originally, the elders didn't have much hope this time. However, we have to provoke those that we should provoke. Haha, that's right. Yesterday, they dared to kill so many disciples of our two great immortal sections. Today, we stand here and see if they dare to make a move. Such an arrogant Dragon Gate. Today, we will kill their spirit. More than 100 young disciples continued to walk forward with smiles on their faces. After walking for more than 2,000 meters, they were already far enough from the city gate. A young man standing in the middle looked around. Dragon Gate brat, are you only good at sneak attacks? Now that your grandfather is here, come and attack me. Huh. Chapter 798, wiped out 50 infant stage cultivators in a day. Huh, cowards, you only know how to launch sneak attacks. If you have the guts, fight head-on with our holy medicine immortal sect. We're out of the city. Dragon Gate's trash, where are you? You only know how to launch sneak attacks. If we dare to kill you openly, you only know how to hide. After a young man finished speaking, a few young men around shouted loudly. There were also a few youths who took out their phones with smiles on their faces and posted mocking posts on the Jianghu. Dragon Gate cowards, this young man has already left the city gates. Come and kill us, ha, cowards, all you know how to do is sneak attack. One by one, similar posts were posted on the Jianghu website. The mocking voices continued without end. When the disciples of the immortal sect who had just woken up saw how lively the Jianghu website was, they were also slightly stunned. The holy medicine immortal sect has started to provoke the dragon sect. They may have set up an inescapable net in the surroundings to wait for the dragon sect to attack again, and then set up an ambush. The dragon sect doesn't dare to come out anymore. It looks like the dragon sect is really weaker than the two great immortal sects in terms of strength. The holy medicine immortal sect has provoked the dragon sect so much. This time, the dragon sect is a little embarrassed. In terms of momentum, the dragon sect has been completely suppressed. I want to go to the scene to take a look. A group of immortal sect disciples looked at the information on the page. Some of the immortal sect disciples even expressed that they wanted to go to the scene to take a look. Although the Dragon Gate experts killed the holy medicine immortal sect disciples yesterday, this was, after all, a trivial matter to them. However, the Dragon Gate had lost 6 forging workshops and 18 infant realm experts. The Dragon Gate's losses were much greater than the two immortal sections. Today, the two immortal sects had provoked them once again. It was obvious that the Dragon Gate was at a disadvantage. Dragon Gate brat, hurry up and kill your grandfather. Another voice resonated in a radius of more than 10 kilometers. More than 100 disciples of the two immortal sects roared mockingly. Dragon King, should we give them a surprise? Mo Qinglong looked at Wang Xian, who was sitting on a chair and playing with his phone. There's no rush. We'll wait. He looked at the posts on the Jianghu website and said with a smile. It's the Dragon King. Elder, the people from the Dragon Gate haven't appeared yet. Will they be too timid to come out? In the holy city, a disciple said to the elder beside him with a smile. There's no rush. If he dares to come today, we'll kill him once and for all. If he doesn't come, it's within our expectations. We can continue to set up our plans. We have time to play with them. An old man stroked his beard and said with a smile. There was no rush. Neither Wang Xian nor the holy medicine immortal sect was in a rush. As expected, the disciples of the holy medicine immortal sect are mocking the dragon sect outside the city. The dragon sect doesn't dare to make a move like yesterday. It seems that the Dragon Palace is bluffing. There are many immortals in the Dragon sect, but they are still far from the two great immortal sects. When it was almost noon, some other disciples of the immortal sects who came to watch the show rushed over and discussed with smiles on their faces. It seems that there won't be a fight today. The Dragon Gate can only cower. It can't be helped. The difference is too big. Although it's very embarrassing, at least we won't lose our lives. Let's stay here for a few days and watch the show. But we have to be careful in a few days. If we're not careful, we'll be affected by the battle between the infant realm experts. One after another, several hundred people came to watch the show on the road outside the sacred city. They stood at the road in front and watched with a smile. Hey, brothers in front, did you see those cowards from the Dragon Gate? If you see them, tell them that their young masters are here. Don't let them cower like cowards. That's right. FUCK, if the Dragon Gate had a base, our experts from the Holy Medicine Immortal sect would have blocked the entrance of their base long ago. If they dare to sneak attack us, they are courting death. Suddenly, 1,000 meters ahead, the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect greeted a group of people who were watching the show. This made the group of people who were watching the show slightly stunned. Then, they shook their heads with a smile. The difference in strength was obvious. The difference in strength between the Dragon Gate and the Holy Medicine Immortal sect was simply too great. Perhaps it was as they said, if the Dragon Gate had a base, the powerhouses of the two immortal sects would have already gone to block the gate. Excuse me. At this moment, a cold voice came from behind them. When the crowd heard this voice, they felt their breathing become sluggish, and they hurriedly turned their heads. When they turned their heads to look, their faces revealed a stunned expression. A group of more than 30 people were dressed in black, and there was a ferocious devil dragon embroidered on their chests. It's Dragon Gate. When the crowd of immortal sect disciples saw the group of more than 30 people, their faces were filled with shock as they stammered, and their bodies hurriedly moved to the side. A faint smile appeared on Mo Qinglong's face as he slowly walked forward. Who is that? However, at this moment, the 100 or so young men from the two immortal sects saw the group of draconids who suddenly appeared and strolled towards them. Their faces were filled with astonishment. They're here, they really dare to come. The 100 or so disciples from the two immortal sects were stunned, and then a trace of a smile appeared on their faces. They looked around and found that there were only more than 30 members of the Dragon Gate, and the smile on their faces became even wider. I don't know whether they are stupid or idiots, ha ha ha. A young man said with a mocking smile. Children of the Dragon Gate, I didn't expect you to really dare to come. I thought you would be cowards. Not bad, you are men. Do you dare to come and kill us? Come on, ha. Wild laughter came from their mouths. They raised their heads and looked down at Azure Demon Dragon and the others. So what if they were infant realm experts? They still dared to curse. Hee hee. Azure Demon Dragon saw that they were fearless and revealed a faint smile on his face. They slowly walked towards the group of young men. Activate the formation. The youth saw that the distance between them was less than 1,000 meters and immediately said, Wang. The formation was activated and a green protective barrier surrounded them. This made them feel at ease. Their gazes swept towards the surrounding areas, and their eyes were filled with smiles. A bunch of fellows who are seeking death. In a while, we'll be here to enjoy their deaths. A young man laughed lightly and said in a low voice. They're here. I didn't expect that they would actually come looking for death. Then, we'll treat you well. I really didn't expect that there would actually be such a stupid person in this world. Be careful of any traps. What's there to be afraid of? There are 50 infant realm experts lying in ambush around us. Including us, there are a total of 90. Moreover, the Lord Immortal God is also paying attention to this matter. Be prepared. Within the sacred city, the elders revealed a trace of excitement on their faces as they said with a loud laugh. "Since you all are courting death, then we will fulfill your wish." Mo Qinglong and the others came to the front of over 100 disciples of the two great immortal sections. Their gazes were filled with ridicule as they raised their palms and prepared to attack. Pitch, you all are courting death. Elders. When they saw Mo Qinglong's attack coming, they hurriedly shouted towards their surroundings. Whoosh! 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 As the roar sounded, the figures on both sides flew towards the road. However, the flying posture of these figures was a little strange. They didn't have the slightest bit of vitality. Chapter 799, Assassination Immortal God. Ha, the experts of our immortal sect have come out. Just wait for your death. The hundreds of disciples in the array looked around and saw the experts of the immortal sect flying out one after another. Their faces were filled with excitement. They raised their heads and stared coldly at Mo Qinglong and the others. Their faces were filled with pride. A bunch of idiots. Mo Yuan's eyes revealed a trace of disdain. He stretched out his arm and directly became 3 meters in size. The terrifying devil dragon claw directly attacked towards the formation. Pang! The terrifying force caused waves of ripples on the formation. If an infant realm expert wanted to break it, it would at least take a few minutes. Even if more than 10 infant realm experts attacked at the same time, they would be able to hold on for more than 10 seconds. You still dare to be arrogant? Just wait to be slaughtered by the experts of our immortal sect. A young man's expression was slightly malevolent as he stared at Devil Abyss and said coldly. What? What's going on? However, at this moment, the terrified and shocked voices of his companions came from beside him. Pang pang pang. At the same time, the sound of heavy objects falling onto the ground was heard. The young man turned his head around with a face full of shock, and was instantly dumbstruck. Those peak experts of their immortal sect, terrifying existences at the infant stage, had actually landed heavily on the road. Their bodies had already lost their vitality, and had already become corpses. Corpses. This caused everyone's faces to reveal an expression of shock, and their eyes were wide open as they stared at the corpses on the ground in disbelief. 50 corpses were thrown neatly in the middle of the road. Their eyes were wide open as if they were filled with disbelief. No, this is impossible, this is impossible. Elder, and deacon, how could this be? How could this be? They felt as if their scalps had exploded and their eyes were filled with fear. 50 infant realm experts, the most powerful existences in their immortal sect. Yesterday, a group of deacons and elders had been lying in ambush in the surroundings, waiting for the dragon gate to appear. Each infant realm expert lay in ambush at a distance of only 500 meters. 50 infant realm experts lay in ambush on both sides of the road. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that an area of 10 kilometers was within their control. To the infant realm experts, they could clearly see even a mosquito. However, the 50 infant realm experts who were lying in ambush were actually turned into corpses. When were they killed? They didn't know. They also didn't know when they died. However, looking at their fresh blood, they definitely hadn't died long ago. Just died not long ago. There were immortal gods watching this place in the sacred city. In other words, there were absolutely no immortal god-level experts participating. Without the immortal gods taking action, they actually killed 50 of their infant stage experts without anyone noticing. How terrifying was this? Come, continue to shout arrogantly. Mo Yuan looked at the over 100 disciples of the two great immortal sects in the formation and stared at them with a face full of ridicule. You guys. No, I don't believe it. The hundreds of disciples inside the formation still couldn't believe what they were seeing. Their bodies were trembling. Boom! 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 At this moment, terrifying attacks came one after another. Ripples appeared on the formation. Soon, cracks appeared on it. What's going on? The disciples of the immortal sects who were watching the show widened their eyes and couldn't help but exclaim. The situation just now was obviously a trap set by the two immortal sects of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine, waiting for the arrival of the Dragon Gate. If the powerhouses of the Dragon Gate came, they would be directly ambushed and killed. If they didn't come, they could also kill the spirit of the Dragon Gate. It was the best of both worlds. However, the corpses that were thrown out one by one. At the beginning, they were like the disciples of the two great immortal sections. They thought that the experts of the ambush were going to make a move, and then, the experts of the two great immortal sects who flew over in strange postures actually landed heavily on the ground. They were just corpses. The experts of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine immortal sect who were ambushed in the surroundings were actually killed. Moreover, there were a total of 50 infant realm experts. This was the 50th place. The immortal sect that was ranked in the bottom 10 didn't even have 50 infant realm experts. Yet, today, 50 of them died in one go. This was too terrifying. The Saint Medicine immortal sect lost 50 infant realm experts. Moreover, they were ambushed in advance. This was simply a complete defeat. Caw caw caw. Right at this moment, the sound of the formation breaking could be heard. Along with the sounds of terror, despair, and trembling, more than 100 disciples of the two great immortal sects could be heard. The spectators behind them pursed their lips and widened their eyes. Just a moment ago, these 100 or so people were arrogantly shouting for the people of the Dragon Gate to come and kill this young master. Now, it had come true. How can this be? In the sacred city, the elders and deacons of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine immortal sect stared with wide eyes. Their eyes were about to pop out of their sockets as they stared at Qingwei in disbelief. Just now, when they were about to fly over to support Qingwei, they discovered that the experts of their immortal sect had already turned into corpses. At that moment, their bodies trembled a little. They knew better than anyone else how secretive and safe the experts lying in ambush around were. As long as one person was attacked, everyone else would be able to discover it immediately. However, they were actually killed, which made them feel terrified. The death of 50 infant realm experts would directly cause them to lose 40% of their strength. Holy Medicine Immortal Sect, you dare to destroy our Dragon Gate forging workshop and kill our Dragon Gate members. Our Dragon King said that only one of us will survive. Now, you can wait to die. Mo Qinglong waved his arm, and wisps of demonic qi directly controlled over 100 disciples of the two immortal sections. Wisps of demonic qi bound their necks and suspended them in the air. He slowly walked toward the holy city of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect. With a wave of his other hand, the bodies of the 50 infant realm experts on the road were also directly controlled into the sky. Save me, Elder, save us. Save us, we don't want to die. More than 100 young disciples had terrified expressions on their faces as they shouted loudly. Dragon Gate, all of you deserve to die. On the city wall, a group of 50 to 60 infant realm experts from the two great immortal gates were floating in the air. Their eyes were blood red as they roared loudly. They stared at the corpse that was floating in the air and clenched their fists tightly. But now, they didn't dare to go out. They really didn't dare to rashly charge out. 50 infant realm experts were directly killed, causing them to feel a chill down their spines. We've said before that this is only the beginning. Just you wait, the end result of provoking our Dragon Gate will be destruction. Mo Qinglong and the group of draconids fearlessly arrived 1,000 meters away from the city gate and arrogantly laughed out loud. Chapter 800, In the Assassination of the Immortal God One. Bang bang bang. Awe! The sounds of attacks and screams resounded through the city gates of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect. Under the gazes of the experts from the two immortal sects, the bait they had sent out was directly killed. The corpses of the infant realm experts were directly smashed onto the ground. Humiliation, naked humiliation. Even if the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect destroyed the Dragon Gate forging workshop, it didn't cause such humiliation. Back then, the members of the Dragon Gate fought to the death. Even if they knew they were going to die, they still fought. But now, it was the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect and the other two Immortal Sections. They just stood in the city and watched this scene. Boom! 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 At this instant, terrifying figures appeared in the sky. Violent flames and exploding wood filled the entire sky. The clouds in the sky that were 1,000 meters high instantly turned into burning clouds that were completely red. 5 figures floated in the sky. Their eyes were filled with a crazed killing intent as they stared at the people from the Dragon Gate with bloodthirsty eyes. The prelude to the war has begun. I hope you can endure it. Ao Jian's figure appeared in the void far away. He stared at the 5 immortals from the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect, his face filled with coldness. One day, we will kill all of you with our own hands. The elder in the middle, dressed in fiery red clothes, stared at Ao Jian with a cold expression. Let's wait and see. Ao Jian replied indifferently. Let's go. Holy Medicine Sect, from today onwards, all of you will hide in the city. Once you come out, you will die. Mo Qinglong laughed maniacally and his voice spread throughout the entire holy city. More than 30 draconids slowly walked away with their heads held high. The person who killed you then left in a carefree manner. This made everyone from Holy Medicine Immortal Sect extremely embarrassed. Just how terrifying will the strength of the Dragon Gate be? In the future, which immortal sect will dare to provoke the Dragon Gate? Holy Medicine Immortal Sect has lost. The immortal sect that was arrogant yesterday, from today onwards, I wonder if they still dare to leave the city gates. From today onwards, the Dragon Sect will be famous throughout the martial arts world. No one will dare to provoke them. They are almost comparable to the Xian Yuan clan and the Yuan clan. Not far away, the disciples of the Immortal Sect who were watching the show were filled with astonishment as they watched the Dragon Sect's powerhouse fly away. Their eyes were filled with shock. Dragon King. Ao Jian and the rest of the people of the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine Immortal Sect, greeted Wang Xian respectfully from a position 20 kilometers away. Very good. We will continue to stand guard here. Once the disciples of their sect dare to come out, we will kill them immediately. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. 50 infant realm experts wanted to ambush the surroundings of the road. To Wang Xian, this was simply courting death. To the strange demons, they were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. 50 infant realm experts were easily killed by the strange demons without anyone noticing. It's the Dragon King. The group of draconids nodded respectfully. In this battle, even the 70 members of the Golden Swordfish clan didn't make a move. In this situation, it won't be long before Nine Hui breaks through. Wang Xian raised his head slightly with a smile on his face. Just like the declaration of the Dragon Palace, anyone who offended the Dragon Palace would be killed. The first battle of the Dragon Palace would be sacrificed by the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect. Mo Qinglong and the strange demon went into hibernation again, waiting for the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect to come out. At this moment, there was a huge commotion on the Jianghu website. The Holy Medicine Immortal Sect was killed by the Dragon Sect by 50 infant realm experts. The two immortal sects were defeated, and the Dragon Sect showed their terrifying strength. In the morning, they even shouted that the children of the Dragon Gate would come and kill us. However, in just a few hours, they were all killed, and 50 infant realm experts died. These are 50 infant realm experts, and they were ambushed in the surroundings, yet they were killed by the Dragon Gate unknowingly. How is this possible? How did the Dragon Gate do it? Just how strong is the Dragon Gate? The experts of the Dragon Palace must have arrived. The Jianghu internet was in an uproar. The originally arrogant Holy Medicine Immortal Sect was completely silent. Now, it seems that the Dragon Gate has blocked the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect city gate. Once they come out, they might be killed. At this moment, all the disciples of the Immortal Sect realized that the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect could only hide inside the city gate. They once launched a sneak attack on the Dragon Gate forging workshop, but now they've been beaten into dogs. These two immortal sects are so disgraceful. Some mocking voices were heard, causing the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect to feel extremely aggrieved when they saw these posts. However, they had no other choice. They could only reply with an angry expression. If it weren't for the Immortal God Agreement, the Dragon Gate would have been destroyed by us long ago. Without the agreement between the immortals and gods, the Dragon Gate would have been destroyed long ago. The disciples of the two immortal sects could only comfort themselves on the Jianghu website. The east gate of the sacred city was still open, but no one dared to walk out of the gate. The two immortal sects were completely helpless. 50 infant realm experts were killed. Their strength was no longer enough to fight against the Dragon Gate. In this situation, it was tantamount to admitting defeat. Without the help of the immortal gods, they killed 50 infant realm experts without anyone knowing. It seems that there are many terrifying creatures in the Dragon Palace. In the Chaos Origin Immortal Sect, the three immortal gods looked at each other with fear in their eyes. Even the immortal gods couldn't do anything about the terror of those creatures. They were glad that they did not fight to the death back then. Otherwise, they would be in a much worse situation than the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect. In fact, the entire Immortal Sect would be destroyed. Just as all the Immortal Sects were discussing about the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect, a strange battle began to erupt in the Xiading region. Wang Xian led a group of members of the Dragon Palace to the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect, while Ao Yao led a group of strange demons to the Xiading region. There were two great immortals in the Xiading region. One was the Strange Thorn Tribe and the other was the Wild Beast Immortal Sect. The Wild Beast Immortal Sect was extremely powerful and could be ranked in the top 5. The Strange Thorn Tribe was not to be underestimated either. 1,000 years ago, they were a terrifying assassin organization that walked in the dark. The strength of the Strange Thorn Tribe lay in their assassinations. No one dared to provoke a terrifying assassin organization because one would not know when one would die if they provoked them. The Crafty Thorn clan possessed the most powerful concealment technique of all the immortal sections. To strike with a single strike and flee into the distance, this was the description of the Crafty Thorn clan. On the surface, the Crafty Thorn clan had 3 immortal gods and 1 god, but it was unknown whether they had any hidden strength. The number of infant stage experts was unknown, and so was the number of Dan stage experts. Their base was located within a small city in Xiading. Although it was called a small city, it was actually just a small town. There weren't many people within. Most of them were wearing a shadow robe and were extremely mysterious. Have you gathered all the information? Leader, we've gathered all the information in one day. Then let's begin. Thorn Clan, let our strange demon clan challenge you. Chapter 801, Assassinating the Immortal God. The sun was high in the sky, and the small town of the treacherous Spike clan was deserted. All the houses were tightly shut. There weren't many pedestrians on the streets. As the treacherous Spike clan, they usually rested during the day and came out to take action at night. The treacherous Spike clan cultivated the dark attribute, and their combat strength in the dark far surpassed that of the day. Their assassinations would often be carried out in the dark. The Strange Thorn clan in the dark was incomparably terrifying. The strange demons hid in the void, staring coldly at a black mountain peak in front of them. Black demonic chi surrounded the mountain peak, making it seem eerie and terrifying. That was the place where the strange demon clan's immortal gods cultivated. Naturally, they would not assassinate the immortal gods. Instead, they would prevent the Strange Thorn clan's immortal gods from discovering them. Ao Yao stood there quietly. 70 strange demons had already entered the Strange Thorn tribe and started to assassinate them. The strange demons who had special skin and cultivated the divine light dragon transformation were the kings of assassinations. Even the immortal gods would find it very difficult to sense the strange demons of the infant realm. Only when the strange demons of the same level appeared would they be able to see clearly and discover them. The strange Thorn clan would never have thought that an assassin would openly enter their lair and assassinate them during the day. As the strongest assassin clan in the pugilistic world, he would never have thought that. Ah, there's a demon. Time slowly passed. After an hour, a terrified scream came from the center of the town. The scream instantly spread to a radius of more than 10 kilometers. Ah! Soon, another scream came. Ao Yao frowned slightly and shouted, "Go!" Ripples appeared in the air, and the whole town was woken up. From the back of the town, black-robed assassins of the strange Thorn clan walked out. "We are the strange demon clan of the Dragon Palace, the strange Thorn clan. Please give us your guidance in the future." At this moment, a cold voice came from the air, echoing throughout the entire Xiading region. The strange demon's voice echoed with the screams just now, startling the entire strange Thorn clan and the Mad Beast clan. The screams and the immortal god's voice. Everyone was slightly startled. One immortal god after another flew out of the gate of immortality, especially the strange Thorn tribe's immortal gods. 3 immortal gods dressed in black robes appeared in the sky above the small town, looking towards the direction of the sound. Below, the members of the strange Thorn tribe came to the road of the small town. They looked towards the immortal gods in the sky and bowed respectfully. "The smell of blood is very strong." A strange Thorn immortal god's voice was somewhat hoarse. He looked down, and his face, which was covered by black robe, was somewhat embarrassed. "Black robe, what's wrong?" A golden bird, half a meter in size, was emitting a resplendent golden light. Beside it were 2 burly old men. The one who spoke was the golden bird. Because the strange Thorn clan and the wild beast clan were in the same Xiading, their relationship could be considered quite good. The golden bird was somewhat similar to the golden bird from the school of imperial beasts. They looked over in confusion. "Someone broke into our Thorn clan." An old man in the middle revealed a pair of slightly red eyes. His gaze was fixed on the road below. There were only over 100 members of the Thorn clan gathered there. This gave them a bad premonition. "Disciples of the Thorn clan, come over here." A Thorn immortal god shouted softly. The dignity and voice of the immortal god directly covered the entire town. However, what made them feel embarrassed was that there was no movement. Other than the group of Thorn disciples on the road, there was no movement at all. The 3 immortal gods of the wild beast immortal sect looked at this scene in astonishment. The strange Thorn clan was completely nurturing their disciples as assassins. The loyalty of each disciple could reach 100%. It was impossible for them not to come out under the orders of the immortal god experts. However, other than the 100-odd members of the strange Thorn clan, the entire town was filled with a deathly stillness and a bloody stench. One of the strange Thorn clan's immortal gods waved his arm, and the buildings below were overturned one by one, revealing the scenes inside. Hiss! The pupils of the 6 immortal sects could not help but shrink, and their faces revealed an embarrassed and solemn expression. In the houses, on the beds, and on the sofas, there were numerous assassins from the Thorn clan. The number of members of the Thorn clan was very small to begin with, only 1 to 2,000 in total. But now, there were only 100 or so people standing on the road. The atmosphere fell silent, and the 3 immortal gods from the Thorn clan trembled slightly. "It's the Dragon King." An immortal god from the wild beast immortal sect said with a solemn face. The immortal god in the void just now said that they are members of the Dragon Palace's spiky demon clan. "A few days ago, you assassinated members of the Dragon Gate and destroyed the Dragon Gate forging workshop." An immortal god next to them glanced at the 3 spiky immortal gods, and his eyes flickered with a solemn face. "Dragon King of the Dragon Palace of the Dragon Gate, cough, cough." The black figure in the middle looked into the distance and slowly closed his eyes. "We admit defeat." A slightly bitter voice sounded, and the immortal gods of the strange Thorn clan felt a little powerless. Yesterday, 50 nascent realm experts of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect were killed, and the two immortal sects didn't dare to leave the city gate now. Now, when the Dragon Gate was dealing with the two immortal sects, they were actually able to spare some people to deal with the strange Thorn clan. For an immortal sect that was good at assassination, 90% of the disciples of the immortal sect were assassinated. More than 20 infant realm members were directly killed, and 2 half-step immortal gods were also assassinated. What could they use to fight back? It was even uncertain whether the Dragon Gate would stop at this point. With such a terrifying assassination method, in addition to the immortal gods of the Dragon Gate and the Dragon Palace, the assassination clan was completely defeated. The power of the Dragon King is really too terrifying. While suppressing the two immortal gates, he was also able to take out his hand to assassinate the experts of the clan. With their strength, I'm afraid that even the Xian Yuan clan and the Yuan clan might not be his match. The immortal god of the Mad Beast clan looked at each other and said in a low voice, "Let's go." I believe that in the future, no immortal gate will dare to provoke the Dragon Gate. The immortal god of the Mad Beast clan left, and the strange demon in the void also left. He moved and led the strange demon toward the Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect. On the same night, what happened to the strange Thorn clan was reported on the Jianghu web, and the entire Jianghu was shocked again. As expected, the Dragon Palace is also the Dragon King's force. When the Dragon King led a group of experts to suppress them, the strange demon clan of the Dragon Palace almost exterminated the strange Thorn clan. The strange Thorn clan has kicked a metal board this time. The Dragon King's influence is too strong. It's really hard to imagine. The strange Thorn clan is an assassin clan. Now, 90% of their disciples have been assassinated by the strange demon clan of the Dragon Palace. All the disciples of the Immortal sect were discussing in shock. The two Immortal sect disciples who received the news were even more terrified. While the disciples of the Immortal sect were discussing, Wang Xian was planning something. Assassinating the immortal god. Chapter 802, Ambushed and Attacked. The Holy Medicine Immortal sect and the treacherous Spike clan have thoroughly angered the Dragon King. Now, the disciples of the two immortal sects don't dare to leave the city gates. The treacherous Spike clan was almost completely exterminated. The treacherous Spike clan's immortal god announced that the mountain would be sealed for 10 years. Just how many immortal gods does the Dragon King have under his command? How many infant stage subordinates does he have? 100? 150? Or even more? It's very difficult for a single Dragon Gate to suppress the 3 great immortal sects, even for the Shenyuan clan and the Yuan clan. On the Jianghu website, the battle between the Dragon Gate and the 3 great immortal sects had exceeded the expectations of all the disciples of the immortal sections. In particular, the strength that the Dragon Gate had displayed had shocked everyone even more. At the moment, the disciples of the 2 great immortal sects did not dare to leave the city. Even if there were matters that needed to be dealt with, the immortal gods would personally lead a team to prevent the Dragon Gate powerhouses from attacking. This made the disciples of the 2 immortal sects extremely aggrieved. We clearly have the strength to destroy the Dragon Gate, but because of the restrictions of the Immortal God Agreement, we are simply too aggrieved. If the Immortal God can make a move, we will definitely teach the Dragon Gate a lesson. That's right, the damn Immortal God Agreement has forced us into a corner. We, the Immortal God, disregard the agreement and still want to destroy the Dragon Gate. The disciples of the 2 great immortal sects were venting their anger on the pugilistic world. However, many of the other disciples of the immortal sects were replying with a hint of mockery. Even without the immortal sect agreement, the immortal gods of your 2 great immortal sects might not necessarily be a match for the Dragon Gate. They have nearly 10 immortal gods, and at least 2 gods. What about you? Only 3 gods. There's not much of a suppression. Right now, the disciples of the 2 immortal sects can only brag on the pugilistic world's internet. They don't even dare to go out. The winner takes all. There was no shortage of people on the internet who would beat up a drowning dog. When the disciples of the 2 immortal sects saw their replies, they almost vomited blood. Even the faces of the infant stage experts of the immortal sects turned black. Time passed slowly, and half a month passed very quickly. Let's give it a try. We can't keep closing the city gate and see if there are any experts of the Dragon Gate guarding outside. How great would it be if the immortals and gods could make a move? In the early morning, several elders of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect said to the 10 or so young disciples in front of them. The eyes of the 10 or so elders were filled with fear. They gulped and said, "It's the elders." The elders were all white-haired. They were disciples of the Immortal sect and did not have many years of lifespan. Now, they could only send them out to see if the experts of the Dragon Gate were still lying in ambush. Originally, the Immortal God could scan the surroundings to see if there were any experts of the Dragon Gate lying in ambush. However, the appearance of the strange demon race made the Immortal God feel helpless. It was very difficult for the Immortal God to find the members of the Dragon Gate who had terrifying concealment techniques. Therefore, they could only use people to go out and investigate. This was also the most helpless choice of the two immortal sections. Let's go. More than 10 elders walked out. They looked at their surroundings with fear and trepidation as they walked forward. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, figures flew over one by one. Terrifying sword rays directly slashed towards them. Boom! However, before the golden swordfish's attack could reach them, a terrifying flame appeared in front of the dozen or so elders, forming a huge flaming hand. The huge flaming hand wrapped around the dozen or so people, protecting them as they returned to the city gates. Following that, terrifying figures flew towards the golden swordfish. After flying for more than 10 kilometers, they stared coldly at the 20 or so golden swordfish standing there. Humph! The expressions of the three immortal gods changed drastically. They were very strong and wanted to kill them directly, but with the agreement between the immortal gods, their hearts were filled with fear. They still did not dare to openly violate the agreement between the immortal gods. Who? The three of them took a deep breath with ugly expressions and headed directly toward the immortal gate. Bang! It's been half a month, and the people from the Dragon Gate have actually been waiting here for half a month. Damn it, damn it! On the peak covered by plants, an immortal god could no longer hold back his anger and roared. The other 13 immortal gods also had ugly expressions on their faces. They were not afraid of the Dragon Gate's strength at all, but now they were actually forced to hide in the Immortal Gate. Not to mention the disciples of the Immortal Gate, even the immortal gods had ugly expressions on their faces. If there's no agreement between the immortal gods, I'll kill them. The sect masters of the two immortal sects were extremely gloomy as they shouted coldly. Wait a little longer. If they dare to block us for a month or two, then we will take action no matter what. The facial muscles of the fat-faced old man in the middle twitched slightly as he said fiercely. If the disciples of the immortal sects can't go out, then what should we do when we buy supplies? No one dares to enter our holy city now, and neither do we dare to go out, but we have to deal with some things. An immortal god said with a gloomy face. At the moment, we can only lead a team out personally. The sect master of the Holy Doctor Celestial sect said with a gloomy face. The rest of the immortal gods nodded with a gloomy face. This was the only way. The immortal god was leading a team out to purchase supplies. It had to be said that this was a great irony. Dragon King, the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal God have started to lead a team out of the city. There has always been the protection of the Immortal God. Our people don't dare to make a move. Mo Qinglong came to Wang Xian's side and reported. It had been 3 days since the last test. In these 3 days, once someone from the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal sect came out, there would definitely be an Immortal God following them. The Draconids and Golden Swordfish didn't dare to make a move. This was because once they made a move, the Immortal God would be able to make a move directly. After all, the Immortal God agreement was an agreement between the Immortal God and Immortal God. The power of the Immortal God could not be violated. Do you know how many immortals and gods are there? Wang Xian stood up slowly and said to Mo Qinglong while fiddling with the dagger in his hand. There's only one lower immortal. Mo Qinglong replied. Lower immortal? Where are you going? A cold look flashed across Wang Xian's eyes as he asked with a smile. There are a total of 2 immortals and gods leading a team out. One of them is going to Xia City while the other is going to the Yuan clan. They should be purchasing items. Mo Qinglong reported. The Yuan clan. Wang Xian flicked the dagger in his hand lightly and let out a crisp sound. The dagger was emitting a green color and was coated with a type of poison. It was a level 13 celestial artifact. With the full strength of a half-step celestial being, it could break the celestial being's defense. The Yuan clan is more than 1,000 kilometers away from the Holy Medicine celestial sect. If we make a move midway, the other celestials won't be able to rescue us in time. Ao Jian, Ao Yao. Wang Xian looked to the side and shouted directly. Dragon King. Bring everyone. Let's go and kill the god. A hint of excitement flashed across Wang Xian's eyes. Ambushing immortals and assassinating immortals. He had this thought when the Holy Medicine sect closed the city gates and did not come out. Immortals were very powerful. Even a lower-level immortal would have terrifying power. However, 20 half-step immortal gods holding immortal god weapons and over 200 infant realm experts were more than enough to kill an immortal god. Chapter 803, Ambush Them. I told you, I will let your Holy Medicine immortal sect slowly walk towards destruction and fear. When the Holy Medicine immortal sect destroyed the Dragon Gate forging workshop and killed the group of draconids, Wang Xian was already prepared for a long-term battle. Let alone a month, he could even play for 2 months in a year. Everything was waiting for the 9-headed Hui to break through. However, during this period of time, Wang Xian would not let them have a good time either. The disciples of the immortal sect did not dare to come out. Since the immortal god was leading the team, fine, then he would kill the immortal god. In the past few days, Wang Xian had forged more than 20 level 13 spirit weapon daggers. It was difficult for a half-step immortal god to break through the immortal god's defense with his sharp claws. However, a level 13 immortal god's weapon could. Moreover, the attacks launched by more than 200 infant stage powerhouses were enough to drown the immortal god. If the quality was not enough, the quantity would be sufficient. According to Wang Xian's estimation, 100 infant stage powerhouses and 20 half-step immortals were enough to easily destroy a lower immortal. Of course, the prerequisite was to be fully prepared. The return city was a third-tier city, located next to the Yongchang region. Sir, the marriage between us and the Yuan clan has succeeded. It will be very beneficial to us in the future. Hee, the little fairy and that kid from the Yuan clan can be considered to be in love. The marriage this time is mainly to prepare for the future. My lord, if the Yuan clan is willing to help us, our 3 immortal sects will be enough to effect the agreement between the immortals and gods. At that time, my lord will directly destroy that damn Dragon Gate. On the way back to the city, a group of more than 100 people were walking on the road. Behind them was a special horse beast pulling boxes of items. Because entering the city, they could only slow down. The group of Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect immortals were talking with Fairy Hua and the other disciples. If the Dragon Gate evacuates them as soon as possible, then they still have a chance of survival. If they dare to oppose us, then the Dragon Gate will be destroyed. A cold look flashed across the middle-aged immortal god's eyes, followed by a faint smile on his face. The conversation with the Yuan clan this time was relatively smooth. If they could get the Yuan clan to speak up for them in the future, and if the Dragon Gate still dared to ambush around their immortal gate, then their immortal god would have to make a move. Those are the people from the Holy Medicine Immortal Gate. It's true. How dare the people from the Holy Medicine Immortal Gate go out now? No, there's an immortal god there. So there's an immortal god following them. Shoo, keep your voice down. Don't let them hear you. The holy medicine immortal sect is too pitiful now. They even need an immortal god to escort them out. At this moment, sounds of conversation could be heard from the surroundings. The faces of the disciples of the holy medicine immortal sect stiffened, and an embarrassed expression appeared on their faces. Even the immortal god's expression was ice-cold as he swept his gaze over them. Shut up. It won't be long before we teach that Dragon Gate a lesson. Fairy Hua and a few infant stage experts said with ice-cold expressions. The few passers-by not far away shrunk their heads and hurriedly left. Their strength was far from that of an infant stage expert. They were afraid that the other party would vent his anger on them. Damned Dragon Gate. Once we settle the matter of the immortal god agreement, we will immediately destroy them. The disciples of the holy medicine immortal sect said with an unsightly expression. Boom! Boom! At this moment the entire world suddenly changed color, and the originally clear sky instantly became irritable. Everyone in the city felt as if the sky was falling, and a situation that seemed like the end of the world suddenly appeared. From all directions of the holy medicine immortal sect, terrifying attacks instantly attacked. Dazzling and explosive golden light, demonic chi that was like an abyss, and terrifying power radiated throughout the entire city. Someone is ambushing us, courting death. Countless golden light and demonic chi shot towards the two immortal sect experts. The middle-aged immortal god instantly sensed it, and his expression turned cold. He actually dared to ambush an immortal god, courting death. Boom! He moved his arm, and a fiery red staff appeared in his hand. Instantly, towering flames covered all of them. What? He actually dared to ambush us? He's courting death. Sir, kill them. Kill them. The expressions of the other disciples of the immortal sect changed drastically. As they felt the energy that was coming towards them, their eyes revealed a trace of fear. It was too terrifying. That energy that was like an ocean was definitely not something that an infant stage or even a half-step immortal god could withstand. Could it be that the immortal god was attacking them? Otherwise, how could there be such a terrifying attack? A group of infant realm experts actually dared to ambush me. They're courting death. The middle-aged immortal god's eyes shot out dense flames, and his entire body was like a god of fire. The flames rose as he roared. This. However, some of the surrounding martial artists almost wet their pants when they saw the terrifying attack that suddenly appeared. That energy that could almost destroy the world. That group of infant realm experts actually dared to attack the immortal god. The experts of the Dragon Gate actually dared to ambush the immortal god of the holy medicine immortal sect, this. At least 100 infant realm experts. Some of the surrounding disciples of the immortal sect had faces full of shock. The Dragon Gate's over 100 infant realm experts actually dared to besiege the immortal god. This was too fucking awesome. Boom boom boom. As if the attack was going to destroy the world, everyone in the city looked over. The attacks of more than 100 nascent realm experts collided with the fire defense of the middle-aged immortal god. The terrifying energy collided and extinguished the flames. The golden light dissipated, and the demonic chi disappeared. The full-strength attack of 100 nascent realm experts was only able to clash with the immortal god's attack. One could imagine how terrifying the immortal god was. Stupid thing, you actually dared to ambush the immortal god. The terrifying energy dissipated. The middle-aged immortal god swept his gaze around and roared with a face full of frost. All of you must die. He roared loudly, and flames instantly rose from his body. Courting death. Courting death. Beside him, the two disciples of the immortal sect looked around excitedly. The infant realm experts dared to ambush the immortal god. This was something they had never expected. However, they had come to seek death. This was an opportunity for their immortal sect. Whoosh! 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 However, at this moment, figures that were emitting white light appeared around the middle-aged immortal god. Numerous daggers that contained a terrifying aura directly attacked the middle-aged immortal god. What? Damn it! The middle-aged immortal god's expression changed slightly. He waved his hand, and a terrifying flame directly blocked it. Bang! A terrifying collision occurred as the white shadow was sent flying. Paw paw! However, at the side, the terrifying white shadow's daggers landed on the flame defense on his body. The terrifying attacks instantly pierced through the flame defense. Cracks appeared. Scram! The middle-aged immortal god's body trembled as the terrifying power spread out in all directions. Pang pang pang. The 5 strange monsters were once again sent flying. All of you have to. The middle-aged immortal god was enraged. Flames danced in his eyes as he raised the staff in his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, before he could finish speaking, terrifying white shadows appeared once more, and terrifying daggers once again pierced through. Chapter 804, Immortal God Death. Continuous attacks. 100 Infant Realm experts released their strongest long-range attack. Following closely behind, the 6 half-step Immortal God-level Strange Demons released their sharpest attacks. Terrifying attacks came one after another, especially when the Strange Demons held Immortal God-level daggers in their hands. The terrifying penetration tore through the Immortal God's defense. After the 6 half-step Immortal God-level Strange Demons were repelled, 4 white figures appeared once again. They were still terrifying daggers and sharp attacks. This time, the middle-aged immortal god's defense had just been broken through. Do you think you can kill me just like that? The middle-aged immortal god's expression changed slightly. The surrounding flames instantly entered his body, and his entire body turned dark red. He contained a terrifying power, like a human-shaped nuclear bomb. Bang! 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 The 4 daggers landed on the middle-aged immortal god's body, and they emitted a sound like colliding rocks. However, the immortal god's weapon-grade daggers still entered the middle-aged immortal god's body. However, they only entered half an inch, and didn't cause any harm. However, even so, the middle-aged immortal god was already bleeding. What was even more terrifying was that the daggers were coated with poison. Although it was only a grade 7 poison medicinal pill, it was still equivalent to receiving a full-strength attack from an infant stage expert. The middle-aged immortal god's expression changed slightly. In a short instant, in less than 10 seconds, everyone around was stunned. The terrifying power and attack caused all the surrounding disciples of the immortal sect to roll and crawl far away. When they saw the attacks landing on the middle-aged immortal god's body, their faces revealed shocked expressions. Especially when the immortal god was bleeding and injured, they were even more shocked. That white shadow, every one of them has the strength of a half-step immortal god, and that terrifying dagger, they are all immortal god artifacts. An immortal sect expert widened his eyes and looked at the scene in front of him in shock. Besieging and killing an immortal god. This was besieging and killing an immortal god. Scram! Scram! The middle-aged immortal god became irritable, and his face was extremely ferocious. He waved his arm, and like an unerupted volcano, he swung his body toward the 4 strange demons. Pang 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 pang. Even though the middle-aged immortal god specialized in long-range attacks, his immortal god-level fleshly body still caused the 4 strange monsters to fly backwards. The might of an immortal god was so terrifying. So. However, what shocked everyone was that when the 4 white figures flew backwards, another 5 white figures appeared. They were still terrifying daggers as they attacked the middle-aged immortal god's wide-open body. The middle-aged immortal god's expression changed. His eyes revealed a trace of fear and anxiety. Pang pang pang. Another 5 daggers landed on the middle-aged immortal god's arms, chest, back, waist, legs, chest, and back. This time, the daggers were directly embedded into his body. The middle-aged immortal god could not help but take 2 steps back. Die! He roared with a ferocious expression. Waves of blood accompanied by terrifying flames charged towards the strange monster. The powerful force instantly caused the 5 strange monsters to be heavily injured as they flew backwards. At the same time, his face was deathly pale. Stab! Stab! The attack was still not over. In the sky, a metallic cold sound rang out as rays of extreme metallic cold light shot out. From the front, back, left, right, and in the sky. The 5 half-step immortal god golden swordfish unleashed their strongest attack. Stab! They transformed into the golden swordfish's true form. From the outside, they looked like metal long swords. The golden light of the long swords was restrained, and the terrifying energy contained within them condensed together. No! The 5 continuous waves of attacks finally caused the middle-aged immortal god's expression to change completely, and fear appeared on his face. Feeling the last 5 terrifying metal long swords, his body trembled slightly as he let out a sound of despair. The flames burned his body, leaving only a sliver of defense. Boom, boom, boom. The golden swordfish's attack arrived, causing the ground to explode, and cracks that were thousands of meters wide appeared. And at the middle-aged immortal god's original location, a deep pit that was 100 meters deep appeared. At this moment the entire world seemed to have fallen silent. The disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect were shocked. All the surrounding disciples of the Immortal sect were also shocked. They stared blankly at the location of the deep pit, and their hearts chilled. Those terrifying attacks seemed to be able to destroy the world. A dignified immortal god had no ability to resist at all. Wang Wang. At this moment, 5 figures emitting golden light flew out from the deep pit, and burn marks appeared on their bodies. However, these burn marks weren't fatal. Boom boom. At this moment, more than 100 infant realm experts surrounded them, and each of their bodies emitted an icy cold aura. Dead. The golden swordfish that flew out said coldly. Dead. The 2 words entered the ears of the surrounding people, and in an instant, everyone's eyes widened, revealing an expression of disbelief. Dead, an immortal god actually died. He was directly killed by the experts of the Dragon Gate. This was simply too fucking crazy. No. No. The bodies of all the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect trembled slightly. They couldn't believe that an immortal god had been killed. This was an immortal god, an invincible existence in the world. But now, he had been killed. Whoosh! 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 Terrifying figures flew over from the sky. The battle between immortal gods had attracted many immortal gods. There were 10 immortal gods in total, and 10 immortal gods had come from the 3 great immortal sects in the Yongchang region. They flew in the air and looked at the immortal gods that had been killed in the deep pit. Each and every one of them sucked in a breath of cold air. Their gazes swept over the 100 or so infant realm experts and the strange demon who was hiding and unstable due to his injuries. This middle-aged immortal god could be considered as the first immortal god to be killed since the immortal sect had appeared. In the past, even if there were immortal gods that fought, no immortal gods had died. He was the first. He didn't die at the hands of an immortal god, but was attacked and killed by a group of Dragon Gate experts. Do you think that with an immortal god following us, we can't kill you? At this moment, Mo Qinglong turned around and looked at the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect with a smile on his face. Why did this happen? The disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect were completely in despair. Some of them even collapsed to the ground, their eyes lifeless and their faces ashen. Kill! Mo Qinglong did not show any mercy as he waved his arm. The group of Dragon Gate members instantly took action and were instantly killed. They could even kill an immortal god, let alone a group of 2 ordinary disciples of the immortal sect. There were only 4 infant stage powerhouses. Put away the corpses and let's go. At this moment, Wang Xian and Ao Jian appeared in the sky. They looked down with a smile and said to the group of disciples, "Yes, Dragon King." Mo Qinglong kept the immortal god's body into his interspatial ring as more than 100 infant stage experts flew into the sky. Today, I can kill the holy doctor, holy medicine, and immortal god. In the future, I will be able to completely exterminate them. Chapter 805, The Death of the Immortal God shocked the world. Today, I can kill the holy doctor, holy medicine, and immortal god. In the future, I will be able to wipe them out completely. The voice reverberated throughout the entire sky. Everyone looked at Wang Xian and the rest who had left in a daze. Their faces were filled with shock. The disciples of the Dragon Gate ambushed and killed the immortal god. This matter was simply too shocking. At present, the immortal god was high and mighty. Even with the agreement between the immortal god and the immortal god still possessed an inviolable dignity that surpassed ordinary people. However, even so, an immortal god was still killed by the disciples of the Dragon Gate. The 10 immortal gods of the Yongchang world stared at Wang Xian's figure with complicated and fearful expressions, especially those lower-level immortals. At present, the Dragon Gate had the strength to kill a lower-level immortal. Thinking about it, this was a terrifying matter. Especially the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect. The Dragon King had already wanted to fight to the death with them. Now, even a lower immortal's life was in danger. Then, would another immortal be killed? How would the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect fight back? There was no way to fight back. Even if the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine Immortal sect went out, they would need at least 2 lower immortals together. Only then would it be safer. It is astonishing that a fairy should be forced into such a position. Holy Medicine Immortal Gate of an Immortal God was killed by Dragon Gate strong ambush. This matter first in the Yongchang world caused a huge sensation. Soon, this matter spread to Jianghu Online, spread to the Holy Medicine Immortal Gate there. At first, no one believed that an immortal god would be ambushed and killed by a strong person below the immortal god. With the strength of the immortal god, it was very difficult to kill. However, when an immortal god came out to verify it, the entire Jianghu web seemed to have experienced a magnitude 10 earthquake in an instant. An immortal god was killed? How is this possible? This is too unbelievable. Heavens, heavens, an immortal god has fallen. An immortal god has actually fallen. How can the Dragon Gate be so terrifying? Over 100 infant realm experts directly attacked from afar, breaking through the first defense of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect's immortal god. Following that, terrifying half-step immortal god white shadows shot toward the immortal god one after another. Wave after wave, they held immortal god weapons in their hands, and in the end, they died at the hands of 5 half-step immortal god swordsmen. This time, the Dragon Gate sent at least 20 half-step immortal god experts. They are so powerful that it's unbelievable. Which force will dare to provoke the Dragon Gate in the future? Even the Yuan clan of the Xian Yuan clan can't do it. Everyone was shocked. Even the high and mighty immortal gods were looking at this piece of information with shocked faces. We have to make a move. Regardless of the immortal god agreement, we have to destroy the Dragon Gate. Otherwise, our entire Saint Medicine Immortal sect is no different from a stray dog. An angry roar came from inside the immortal god hall of Holy Medicine Immortal Gate. Inside the hall, the green-robed old man roared with a face full of fury. His face was full of anger, but it was also filled with a trace of fear. The Dragon Gate had actually ambushed and killed one of their immortals. It would have been better if their disciple had died, but now, the immortal god had died. The immortal god represented the pillar of his Holy Medicine Immortal Gate. If the pillar was destroyed, it would naturally shake the entire immortal gate. Other than the green-robed elder, the rest of the immortal gods were also filled with fear. Most of them had the strength of lower-level immortals, which meant that there was a possibility of them being killed. After cultivating for so many years, they were now killed by a group of people who had not even reached the level of immortal gods. This was a great humiliation. especially by someone who was weaker than them in their eyes. Aggrieved and humiliated. We can't go on like this. With the Dragon King's character, it's very likely that he'll keep his word. He was able to ambush and kill one of our immortal gods today, and then he'll be able to kill the rest of our immortal gods. We can't just sit around and wait for death. A lower immortal growled with a grave look in his eyes. None of them had expected that they would have to pay such a huge price just to destroy the Dragon Gate forging workshop. 50 infant realm experts were killed, and one immortal god was killed. Even the two immortal sects, Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine, couldn't bear such a loss. Now, the Dragon Gate has the power to kill immortal gods. Not only are we afraid, but the immortal gods of the other immortal sects are also afraid. The Immortal God Agreement was originally used to protect the weak below the Immortal God level. Now, because of this rule, even the Immortal God can't protect himself. At this time, the burly elder standing at the front had a cold look in his eyes. His body was filled with a murderous aura as he said, "Since even the immortals and gods cannot be protected, the agreement between the immortals and gods has no meaning at all. Grand Supreme, what are you trying to do?" The surrounding immortals and gods felt the anger of the Grand Supreme Elder. They were slightly shocked and quickly asked. "Since the Dragon King wants to destroy our Holy Medicine Immortal Sect, then let's fight and see who will be destroyed first." The burly elder's eyes were like torches, and flames began to jump on his clothes. "Grand Supreme, with the agreement between the immortals and gods, how can we attack? Also, the disciples of the Dragon Sect are too powerful, so powerful that it's inconceivable." A lower immortal said with an embarrassed expression. "Even the immortals and gods have been killed, so who cares about the agreement between the immortals and gods? I don't believe that the disciples of the Dragon Sect have the ability to kill immortals and gods. The other immortal sects can do it. Even the Yuan clan of the Shenyuan clan can't sit still." The eyes of the burly elder were filled with coldness. "Let's go, everyone follow me." With a light shout, he flew out of the main hall and flew towards the sky above the east gate of the sacred city. The eyes of the immortal gods flickered as they followed closely behind the elder. In the sacred city below, today was simply a nightmare for the disciples of the two immortal sections. The immortal lord was actually killed by the Dragon Gate. Perhaps it was as the Dragon King of the Dragon Gate had said, their entire immortal sect would be destroyed in the future. Everyone was terrified, everyone was terrified. The fear brought by the immortal lord's death filled everyone with panic. Especially when they saw the comments on the internet saying that the Holy Medicine would be finished in the future, it made all the disciples extremely embarrassed and angry. But now they had no way to do anything about it. The difference was simply too great. The sensation caused by the Dragon Gate killing the immortal god was equivalent to an earthquake of over 10 magnitude. Oh? The immortal god. What is the immortal god going to do? No, 12. How can there be 12 immortal gods? Hiss, that figure, the Supreme, is the Supreme. Didn't they say that the Supreme has already passed away? At this moment, the disciples of the two great immortal sects in the sacred city suddenly noticed a group of immortal gods flying out, and their faces revealed a look of shock. However, when some of the disciples saw the old man at the front, their faces revealed a look of shock. That was their supreme elder, once the most powerful existence in the immortal sect. The 12 immortal gods, led by the burly old man, stood in the sky above the east gate. Boom! 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 Suddenly, an imposing aura as powerful as a prison was emitted from the burly old man's body. Dragon King, in 3 days, Bian Jiang Tu, will lead the experts of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect to exterminate your Dragon Gate and wait for death. Chapter 806, The Calm Before the Storm. Dragon Gate, in 3 days, Bian Jiang Tu, will lead the experts of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect to destroy you and await your death. A voice filled with boundless anger came from the burly elder's mouth and instantly spread throughout the entire Jianghu. It was the voice of an immortal god, and it was the voice of a superior immortal. According to the division of strength between immortal gods, a middle-level immortal was able to fight against 4 lower-level immortals. And a higher-level immortal could fight against 4 middle-level immortals. If a lower-level immortal wanted to fight against a higher-level immortal, they would need at least 15 to 20. In the entire Jianghu, only the Shenyuan clan, the Yuan clan, and the Beast clan were known to have a higher-level immortal. It was unknown whether the other immortal sects had a higher-level immortal. And today, when the hearts of the people of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine immortal sect wavered, their supreme elder had no choice but to come out. Moreover, today was not only a declaration, but also a declaration. He would flatten the territory and lead the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine immortal sect to destroy the Dragon Gate. The Supreme Elder is actually still alive. Moreover, our 2 immortal sects have a total of 12 immortal gods, a total of 12. Superior immortal, our Supreme Elder has the strength of a superior immortal. According to the Supreme Elder's words, the Supreme Elder is going to lead the experts of the immortal sect to destroy the Dragon Gate. The Dragon Gate is going to be finished, they are going to be finished. This is great, this is simply great. Kill the experts of our 2 immortal sects and besiege our immortal gods. 3 days later, our Grand Supreme will exterminate you. This is too satisfying, too domineering. This is our Grand Supreme Elder. Who cares about the agreement between the immortal gods? Kill them. In an instant, the 2 disciples of the immortal sect below revealed excited expressions. Their eyes lit up as they shouted loudly. After being sullen for more than half a month, the news of the immortal god being killed had finally been released today. If the Supreme Elder of the immortal sect made a move, the Dragon Gate would definitely be destroyed. A dignified voice spread throughout the entire Jianghu. While all the martial artists in the Jianghu were discussing the Dragon Gate in shock, discussing the unlucky Holy Medicine immortal sect, the voice of an immortal god reached everyone's ears. It was extremely clear. This voice was definitely not something that an ordinary immortal god could transmit. In an instant, everyone was stunned. A look of astonishment appeared on their faces. Soon after, they opened their mouths slightly, and their faces were filled with shock. What is the Holy Medicine immortal sect trying to do? Are they going to start a war and disregard the agreement between the immortals and gods? Are the immortals and gods directly participating in the battle? This voice is definitely not coming from a mid-level immortal. A high-level immortal. The Holy Medicine immortal sect has a high-level immortal. Bian Zhang Tu. Bian Zhang Tu seems to be the former Supreme Elder of the Holy Medicine immortal sect. Didn't they say that the immortal had passed away more than 10 years ago? He didn't die. This time, the Dragon Gate has really broken the sky. The Dragon Gate experts can kill the immortal god, and the Holy Medicine immortal sect doesn't care about the agreement between the immortal god and the immortal god. They are going to fight to the death. The Holy Medicine immortal sect has made it clear that if they don't care about the agreement between the immortal god and the immortal god, how will the other immortal sects react? What about the Yuan clan of the Shenyuan clan? The entire Jianghu was in an uproar again. Just as all the disciples of the immortal sects thought that the Holy Medicine immortal sect would be beaten up by the Dragon Gate from now on, the 2 immortal sects suddenly turned the tables. The superior immortal directly declared that he would destroy the Dragon Gate. The words of a superior immortal were not a joke. Moreover, at this time, they clearly disregarded the agreement between the immortals and gods. According to the news from the Holy Medicine immortal sect, the 2 immortal sects currently have a total of 12 immortals, 1 superior immortal, 3 middle immortals, and 8 inferior immortals. Heavens, this is simply too terrifying. Now that the 2 immortal sects have been forced to violate the immortal god agreement, if the Shenyuan clan doesn't intervene and stop them, the Dragon Gate will probably be destroyed. That's right. At this time, unless the Shenyuan clan and the Yuan clan use the immortal god agreement to suppress this matter, the Dragon Gate's strength will definitely be destroyed. The strength displayed by the two immortal sects once again shocked everyone. If they really started fighting, the Dragon Gate would probably be destroyed. At this moment, Bian Jiangtu's announcement not only shocked the disciples of the immortal sects, but even the immortal gods had solemn expressions on their faces. At the first moment, the Grand Elder of the Xian Yuan clan and the Grand Elder of the Yuan clan led a group of immortal gods to gather together. More than a dozen immortal gods from the two immortal sects arrived and sat on both sides, frowning. As expected, the Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect has a superior immortal. Now, Bian Jiangtu has announced that he will mobilize the immortal god power to destroy the Dragon Gate. Once they make a move, the immortal god agreement will become a piece of scrap paper. The immortal god agreement was an agreement between the Xian Yuan clan and the Yuan clan. Now that someone was violating it, they had to take the lead. Otherwise, the other immortal gods wouldn't find trouble for themselves. A middle-aged immortal god from the Xian Yuan clan said in a deep voice. It's the Dragon Gate that has forced the Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect into a corner. If they don't take action, their two immortal sects will be completely defeated by the Dragon Gate in the future. They will naturally be unwilling to be defeated by an immortal sect weaker than them. A middle-aged immortal god from the Yuan clan raised his eyebrows and said. The two immortal sects have a superior immortal, and they're already cornered. It's not easy to solve this. Another immortal god from the Yuan clan echoed. The Holy Medicine Immortal sect had a superior immortal, and their strength was on the surface. They were no longer afraid of Shenyuan and Yuan. Now, one immortal god from the immortal sect had been killed. If they didn't respond, the two immortal sects would be completely finished in the future. It was reasonable for a superior immortal to personally declare that they wanted to destroy the Dragon Gate. Is the immortal god agreement going to be scrapped just like that? An old man from the Shenyuan clan frowned and said with an unpleasant expression. The immortal god agreement is to protect ordinary people. Now, because of the immortal god agreement, if the immortal god's life is threatened. An old man from the Yuan clan continued, but he didn't finish his words. But everyone knew what he meant. Let's make a trip to the Holy Medicine Immortal sect first and see if there's any leeway. If there's no leeway, then so be it. The Yuan clan's supreme elder stood up and said to the Shenyuan clan's supreme elder in front of him. All right. The Shenyuan clan's supreme elder slowly nodded. If it could be resolved peacefully, then it would be resolved peacefully. If it couldn't, then it would be very difficult for them to do so. They couldn't possibly punish the entire Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect, could they? This was obviously impossible. The other party's strength was very strong. Moreover, the Yuan clan's people clearly didn't want to interfere in this matter. The Xian Yuan clan was also very hesitant. After all, the Dragon Gate's experts were able to ambush and kill immortal gods. This was too terrifying. The immortal gods from the two great immortal sects immediately headed to the Holy Medicine Immortal sect. The matter of the Xian Yuan clan and the Yuan clan heading to the two great immortal sects was not concealed. At that moment, everyone understood that whether or not this great battle would happen would depend on the conversations of the few great immortal sects. Chapter 807, Chance to Forgive. Time passed slowly. Ever since the Dragon Gate's powerhouse killed the immortal god, the Grand Elder of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect suddenly appeared and decided to destroy the Dragon Gate. The entire Jianghu was in an uproar. A day had passed. All the immortal sects in Jianghu were waiting for news from the Holy Medicine Immortal sect. The immortal god of the Shenyuan and Yuan clan had already passed. Everyone was waiting for the outcome. At this moment, Wang Xian and the group of girls were at the leisure area on the floating island. Wang Xian was lying on the sofa in satisfaction. Guan Shuqing was playing with the heavenly dog while Xiao Yu and the rest were playing with their phones and paying attention to the happenings on the Jianghu internet. When he was about to kill the immortals and the Grand Elder of the Holy Medicine sect, Wang Xian had brought all the members of the Dragon Palace back. It was time to end this. There was no point in blocking the city gates anymore. However, the fact that the two immortal sects had a superior immortal was a little out of Wang Xian's expectations. Even so, Wang Xian was not afraid at all. He had already reached the level of a superior immortal. Even if they were to fight now, the Dragon Palace was more than enough to accept the challenge. Ah, the Holy Doctor and Holy Medicine Immortal Sect has made a statement. They asked Brother to apologize personally and sent an immortal god for them to kill. After that, they took out a large amount of resources to compensate us and let us off. Pitch, the people of the two immortal sects are really arrogant. They actually threatened to destroy us as long as we didn't take them out. At this moment, an angry voice came from Xiao Yu's side. Come, let me take a look. Wang Xian reached out his hand and took Xiao Yu's phone. He looked at the statement issued by the Holy Medicine sect with a smile. He took a look and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. This result was obviously the result of the discussion between the two sects and Shen Yuan. Only when he admitted defeat and offered compensation would the two immortal sects let him go. Otherwise, they would still exterminate their Dragon Gate 3 days later. This made Wang Xian smile coldly. Exterminating his Dragon Gate, they were really arrogant. It was not certain who would exterminate who. However, the news from the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect shocked all the disciples of the immortal sections. It seemed that the result of their negotiation with the Shen Yuan clan had come out, and the two immortal sects had raised this condition. How should the Dragon Sect choose? This condition is very harsh. The Dragon King may not agree, but if he doesn't agree, he may be directly destroyed. The Holy Medicine Sect has a superior immortal, and the overall situation has changed in an instant. On the Jianghu, all the disciples of the immortal sects looked at the news silently. 3 days had passed, and the next 2 days would soon come. Another day had passed, but the Dragon Gate did not reply. The entire Jianghu was paying attention to this matter. Once the Dragon King did not admit defeat, it would be a war between immortals and gods. At that time, more immortals would die, and even the entire Dragon Gate would be destroyed. However, in the past 2 days, the disciples of the two immortal sects had been completely elated. They had been shouting proudly on the Jianghu website that the Dragon Gate would definitely be destroyed and the Dragon Gate would definitely die. All the disciples of the immortal sects also agreed very much. Now that even the Shen Yuan clan and the Yuan clan had compromised on the agreement between the immortals and gods, the strength of the two immortal sects was truly unstoppable. If the Dragon Gate didn't know what was good for them, the consequences would be disastrous. Other than them escaping, they must never be discovered by the two immortal sects and become a stray dog. The storm was coming, the tranquility before the storm. The closer the time was, the entire Jianghu could feel a depressing atmosphere. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the Jiang city and the area of Yaoding. Wang Xian stood at the highest point of the floating island and looked at the ocean in front of him. He was considering whether he should fight or wait. If he waited for some time, he would wait until the nine-headed Hui broke through. If he were to fight, it would be a draw at most. Dragon King. At this moment, Prime Minister Gui's figure suddenly appeared at the bottom of the ocean in front of him. Wang Xian was slightly surprised. Prime Minister Gui, why are you here? Dragon King, you once told me that if the nine-headed Hui. You mean? Wang Xian's eyes lit up and a smile appeared on his face. Yes. Prime Minister Gui nodded his head. Even the heavens want you to be exterminated as soon as possible. A faint smile appeared on Wang Xian's face. Tomorrow night, call all the immortals and deities of the Dragon Palace over. It's the Dragon King. Prime Minister Gui nodded his head heavily. 3 days later, give them a surprise. Wang Xian looked at the Holy Medicine sect and revealed a cold smile on his face. The third day had arrived. All the disciples of the Holy Medicine sect in the martial arts world were paying attention to the information on the martial arts world's internet and the situation of the Dragon sect. Just as many people expected, the Dragon King of the Dragon sect did not respond at all. The next big battle was inevitable. Dragon Gate, today, even if you run to the ends of the earth, with the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine Immortal sect, will destroy you. On the morning of the third day, a roar reverberated through the entire world. Destroy the Dragon Gate. Kill the Dragon Gate. Kill all of them. At the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine Immortal sect, located in Yaoding, 12 immortal gods were floating above the East Gate. Behind them, more than 1,000 experts from the two immortal sects were fully armed and following behind them. Each of them was full of fighting spirit and killing intent. In the Holy City, all the disciples and family members of the two immortal sects were shouting with excitement on their faces. Today's expedition will definitely eliminate every disciple of the Dragon Gate and hang the head of the Dragon King on the Holy City to warn everyone of the consequences if they dare to oppose our Holy Medicine Immortal sect. The burly Grand Elder who was clad in fiery red armor shouted with a cold face. Yes, kill the Dragon King, kill the Dragon King. The group of experts from the Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect roared loudly. Their voices shook the sky and filled the entire area with a murderous aura. Hiss, this is simply too terrifying. At this moment, within a range of 10 to 20 kilometers, a dense group of experts from the immortal sects floated in the sky and looked in the direction of the two great immortal sections. Seeing the terrifying aura coming from there, all of them sucked in a breath of cold air. This battle had attracted the attention of countless experts from the immortal sections. This was a battle that attracted the attention of tens of thousands of people. This time, the Dragon Gate is doomed. An immortal god hidden in the void slowly sighed. A high-level immortal, 3 middle-level immortals, and 8 lower-level immortals. This power could disregard the agreement between the immortals and gods. It was too shocking. Holy Medicine, Son, follow me into battle. Holy Medicine, Son, follow me into battle. The two immortal gods roared loudly, and their earth-shaking voices rang out once more. Fight, fight, fight. The disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect roared loudly, their faces slightly red. Fight with the immortal gods and destroy the Dragon Gate. All of the immortal gods of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect brought with them the top-tier fighting power of the immortal sect. They looked forward with a mighty momentum. Roar! 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 At this moment, an earth-shaking roar was heard. 9 roars and the space trembled. Chapter 808, Despot. Roar, roar, roar. 9 whistling sounds rang out. While the immortal gods of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect were filled with fighting spirit, the disciples of the two immortal sects were filled with fighting spirit and vowed to exterminate the Dragon sect. While the disciples and family members of the two immortal sects were filled with excitement in the Holy City. Just as they were about to set off for battle, 9 terrifying roars rang out. The voices were filled with violence, coldness, and brutality. In an instant, the entire world seemed to shake. The eyes of the immortal gods and the experts from the immortal sects who were gathered around to watch the battle suddenly narrowed. Everyone looked toward the east with shocked expressions. This is... Heavens, this... The infant realm experts and the few hidden immortal gods suddenly revealed shocked expressions. Their bodies couldn't help but tremble in the air. In the sky above the eastern gate of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect, 9 roars caused the expressions of the people from the two immortal sects to change slightly. Their gazes flickered as they looked ahead. However, because the voices were too far away, they couldn't see clearly at all. However, in the next second, 9 terrifying behemoths suddenly appeared in everyone's line of sight. 9 green-colored behemoths with 2 horns on their heads, their bodies reaching a terrifying size of around 20 meters. Their bodies were 3 meters wide and their scales were the size of a human head. They contained a terrifying wind attribute energy. They had a ferocious head and their green eyes were filled with coldness. The 9 terrifying creatures emitted a desolate aura. Just their aura was definitely not something that an ordinary immortal could compare to. When they saw the appearance of the 9 terrifying creatures, everyone's expression changed. There's still someone up there. Right at this moment, an infant stage expert from the Holy Medicine Immortal sect couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva as he spoke loudly. There was someone up there. 10 figures, a total of 10 figures stood on top. One was a devil monkey that held a metal rod. One was an old man that carried a turtle shell on his back. One was a prawn that was covered in golden light and possessed 2 huge pincers. A beautiful woman with a blue shell on her back. A prawn covered in terrifying lightning had a thunder hammer in one hand and a thunder spear in the other. A middle-aged swordsman with a long sword in his hand. However, a man and a woman stood in the middle of the 9 terrifying creatures. The man was naturally the Dragon King of Dragon Gate, while the woman was the Dragon King's girlfriend. They stood on each of the 9 terrifying bodies, and a terrifying energy was emitted from their bodies. Every force made the lower-level immortal's heart palpitate, especially the aura emitted by the central Dragon King. It was terrifying. 17 immortal gods? Oh my god, it's actually 17 immortal gods. That's not right. There should be another immortal god who is good at hiding in the void. According to the matter of the Strange Thorn clan, there's a white shadow who is also an immortal god who is good at hiding. That means there are 18 of them. There are actually so many strange immortal gods among them. The ferocious aura on their bodies is completely incomparable to that of an ordinary immortal god. Everyone looked at the Dragon King and the rest in astonishment. The scene in front of them was too unbelievable. Each and every one of them was a special immortal god who was awe-inspiring to the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal sect. Master Pledge Ceremony. Not bad. However, there's no need for you to look for the Dragon sect. I have personally brought people here. Wang Xian looked down at everyone from the 2 immortal gates of medicine and holy medicine and said faintly. Boom. When he finished speaking, an invincible pressure was emitted. Roar. Ao Qitian, who was at the side, followed Hui directly. No, he should be called a flood dragon at this moment. Although it was only a young flood dragon, it was still terrifying enough. Ao Qitian roared loudly and his body turned into about 8 meters. He held the sea-pacifying divine needle in his hand and the pressure also covered him. Crackle! Crackle! The sound of thunder and lightning resounded through the void. A bolt of lightning landed directly on Ao Qi's body. Like a god of thunder, he flew to the side from the body of the flood dragon. Anyone who provokes the Dragon Palace, kill. Prime Minister Gui jumped lightly and stared coldly at all the people in front of him, releasing their mighty pressure. The mighty pressure of all the immortal gods of the members of the Dragon Palace covered the sky and covered the earth. Retreat. The aura of nearly 20 immortal gods caused the expressions of some experts in the surrounding 10 kilometers to change drastically, and they retreated again. The Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect asked the Dragon King to send over an immortal god for them to kill and then pay a sum of resources as the price for not destroying the Dragon sect. But now, before they set off, the Dragon King has led a group of immortal gods here. This power is too powerful. Too powerful, simply too powerful. This was the most terrifying power they had ever seen. How is this possible? All the disciples of the Holy Medicine Immortal sect were completely dumbfounded, cold sweat slowly appearing on their foreheads. The fighting spirit and killing intent from just now had completely disappeared, and they looked forward in horror. 17 immortal gods, a total of 17, 5 more than them. What frightened them the most was that there were only a few of these 17 celestials and humans. The rest were all terrifying monsters. Their auras were extremely violent. Dragon King of the Dragon Gate. Bian Jiangtu's expression was extremely ugly. He took a deep breath and stared at Wang Xian with a serious expression as he growled in a low voice. I am the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian stared at Bian Jiangtu indifferently and opened his mouth slightly. 3 dragon balls appeared in his mouth. Each of the dragon balls contained a terrifying energy. The dragon balls floated above his head. He raised his head slightly and shouted, "Let's fight. Today, I want to see who will be the one to destroy who. Supreme, their strength is so strong, so strong." A celestial god revealed a look of fear in his eyes. He looked at the Dragon King and the rest who were filled with killing intent. His eyes sparkled. He was afraid. If they really fought, their side would obviously be at a disadvantage. Bian Jiangtu's expression kept changing. The Dragon King's strength was comparable to his, and every other creature was much stronger than a lower immortal. They really weren't a match for him. However, his expression quickly changed, and he took a deep breath. I didn't expect your Dragon Palace to be so powerful. The past grudges are over, and we won't interfere in each other's business in the future. Bian Jiangtu's voice reverberated in the surroundings, causing the faces of all the disciples of the 2 immortal sects to freeze. However, they lowered their heads slowly. This was the best choice. Hee, it's a little too late to reconcile now. Wang Xian revealed a hint of mockery on his face. What do you want, Dragon King? Don't go too far. Even if you guys are stronger than us, there will still be immortals among you if you really fight. Bian Jiangtu shouted at Wang Xian with a cold expression. You want to reconcile? You want to negotiate terms? Upon hearing the voice, everyone who was staring at them from afar held their breaths and stared at them with burning eyes. What do I want? I want to destroy all of you. Chapter 809, Terrifying Battle. What do I want? I want to destroy you all. A domineering voice sounded in the entire sky, and a terrifying killing intent instantly filled the entire sky. Everyone was shocked, and even the faces of all the immortal gods from the flat territory, holy medicine, and medicine sects changed drastically. In the distance, all the immortal sect experts and even the immortal gods who had been paying attention to this place heard this voice, and their pupils constricted slightly. In the war between the immortal gods, 12 immortal gods fought 18. Although the Dragon Palace could be said to be on the side of absolute suppression, after the battle broke out between the 2 sides, even if the Dragon King could win, he would definitely lose a lot. It was even normal to lose 4 or 5 immortal gods in this battle. All the experts who had been paying attention to this place guessed that the Dragon King would make the Holy Doctor and Holy Medicine Immortal sect pay a huge price and then reconcile. But no one had expected that the Dragon King would say such a thing. Even the people of the Holy Doctor Holy Medicine Immortal sect hadn't expected it. Destroy us. You have to think about the consequences. Do you think you can destroy us so easily? Bian Jiangtu shouted with an extremely embarrassed expression. His fat face turned red as if he was a volcano that was about to erupt. It was too sullen. They were originally valiant and ready to head to the Dragon Gate to destroy it and shake the world. In the end, when the oath ceremony was held at the city gate, all the disciples of the immortal sect were ignited to the extreme. The 18 immortals of the other party directly pressed down on them. They were suffocated by the pressure. Now, they were going to kill them. How could they not be angry? Bian Jiangtu glared at him angrily. Kill. Wang Xian laughed out loud. He didn't want to continue arguing with them. He came here today to destroy the Life and Death Holy Medicine Immortal sect. As for reconciliation, there was no need. If he didn't have such powerful strength and influence, he would have been destroyed by the Holy Medicine Immortal sect today. Therefore, since they were enemies, he would fight. Roar! Roar! The moment Wang Xian gave the order, all the immortals in the Dragon Palace started to move. Wang Xian was the first to bear the brunt. His body moved and he let out a majestic roar, roar. In an instant, Wang Xian transformed into a divine dragon. His 15-meter divine dragon body attacked the flat territory. Beside him, 3 dragon balls were spinning above his head, emitting a terrifying power. The 9 flood dragons swayed their bodies and turned into green shadows, attacking forward. The sound of thunder reverberated through the heaven and earth, and a lightning hammer was raised. Golden and sharp metal, graceful flowing water, terrifying demonic chi, and a huge sea-pacifying divine needle. The attack that erupted in an instant made everyone from the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal sect look terrified. The Dragon King really dared to attack. He really wanted to exterminate them and fight to the death. Kill! Bian Jiangtu's expression changed drastically when he saw Wang Xian turning into the legendary divine dragon. He roared loudly and went up to meet Wang Xian. Kill! The rest of the Immortal sects gritted their teeth and went up to meet him. Behind them was their lair. There was nowhere to hide and nowhere to hide. They could only kill. Boom! 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 In an instant, the wind attribute, the terrifying demonic chi, the explosive fire and metal attribute, the green wood attribute, the blue water attribute, the wind and cloud attribute, and the heaven and earth attribute changed. Hiss, they are really fighting. The Dragon King has turned into a divine dragon. Oh my god, this is unbelievable. Dragon Palace Dragon King, so the Dragon King can turn into a divine dragon. What a terrifying pressure. It's the legendary divine beast of China. The battle between the immortal sects. The real battle between the immortal sects. 30 immortals fighting against each other. Hiss. The spectators who were watching from 10 kilometers away retreated once again. The battle between the immortals had affected a huge area. It was too terrifying. Boom! The first collision sounded. It was the prelude to the battle between the two terrifying forces. Awe! At the moment of the collision, screams of pain could be heard. The more than 1,000 disciples behind the two immortal sects, except for those who were half-step immortal gods, and even those at the infant realm, were affected by the battle in an instant. They let out a series of terrified screams. Even if you can destroy us, I will still make you suffer a great loss. Bian Jiangtu's body was emitting a monstrous flame. The entire sky above his head had turned fiery red because of him. He held a bright red staff in his hand. With a wave of his arm, flaming meteorites were hurled at Wang Xian from the sky. The flaming meteorites covered an area of 5 kilometers in front of him. Wang Xian raised his head slightly. The water dragon pearl above his head shook slightly and formed a water curtain. The water curtain covered the sky and blocked the flaming meteorites in the sky. Wang Xian swayed his body and flew directly towards Bian Jiangtu. A pair of dragon claws grabbed towards his body. The terrifying dragon claws seemed to be able to tear the world apart. Bian Jiangtu looked at Wang Xian's approximately 15-meter-tall body and his expression was extremely solemn. He tapped the staff in his hand and a pillar of fire as thick as an arm shot towards him like an aurora. Wang Xian opened his mouth and let out a roar. The fire pillar with a diameter of 3 meters went straight towards him. Fire and water attack at the same time. Bian Jiangtu's expression changed slightly and a look of shock appeared in his eyes. He waved his arm, and a fire shield appeared in front of him. Boom! The fire shield only lasted for half a second, but by using this time, he had already moved to a position 1,000 meters away. The terrifying dragon flames descended. And that was the direction of the sacred city. It was covered by a green light, which was the power of the array formation. But even with the array formation, all the disciples and family members of the two immortal sects looked terrified when they saw the battle between the immortals and gods outside. After all, the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was too powerful, and the number of immortals and gods was completely suppressed. Not good. At this moment, everyone in the sacred city looked terrified when they saw the terrifying dragon flame attack. Crack! 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 The dragon flame landed on the array formation of the sacred city, and the sound of it breaking could be heard. The green light shone brightly, and then began to flicker. Bang! Finally, the defense of the formation was broken. Everyone in the sacred city was instantly exposed to the battle between the immortals. Bang! 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 In an instant, thousands of people from the sacred city knelt on the ground. Just the terrifying pressure alone made it difficult for them to breathe. Go to the sky. Bian Jiangtu looked extremely embarrassed when he saw that the formation was broken with a single strike. If they continued to fight here, everyone in the sacred city would be affected and die. Let them go to the sky. Wang Xian did not want to affect tens of millions of humans. The group of immortals instantly arrived at a height of 10,000 meters. Ah! At this moment, a scream was suddenly heard. A holy doctor, holy medicine, and immortal god suddenly appeared behind him when he was distracted while flying into the sky. A terrifying claw penetrated his body directly. The first immortal god died. The battle between the immortals continued. Chapter 8:10, In the Terrifying Battle of... Oh no! What? Everyone was shocked. They quickly turned their heads and looked in the direction of the scream in shock. Qianjiang! A somewhat terrified roar was heard. The voices of the holy doctors, holy medicine, and the two immortal sects could be heard. It's too fast. It's simply too fast. The battle has just begun, and then an immortal god was killed. This is simply too terrifying. The Dragon King's cultivation technique should be similar to those bloodline warriors in the OU continent. As long as one has the bloodline of a creature, they can transform into such a creature. However, the Dragon King has actually obtained the bloodline of the divine dragon. This is too unbelievable. No wonder the Dragon King can rise so quickly. It's that white shadow that has been hiding in the void, ready to launch a fatal attack at any time. The surrounding disciples who had been paying attention to this side looked at the immortal god who had died in shock. An immortal god had actually been killed so quickly. The terrifying white figure and the terrifying upper-level immortal Dragon King. No one had expected that the Dragon King would be able to unleash such terrifying strength. Dragon King, if you want to destroy us, I will make you pay a heavy price. Kill! Bian Jiangtu's eyes were bloodshot as he commanded the surrounding immortals. Yes, kill! The rest of the immortals were also stirred up by the blood. They attacked the enemies in front of them with grief and indignation. Kill! Wang Xian's expression did not change. He swayed his body and attacked Bian Jiangtu directly. As an upper-level immortal, Wang Xian could only suppress him at most. It was very difficult to kill him. However, he only needed to control them. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, the battle at the side erupted completely. The 9 terrifying figures of the flood dragons transformed into green shadows that shuttled tens of thousands of meters high in the sky. Their entire bodies carried terrifying storm blades. Tree World! A middle-aged man waved his arm, and towering trees appeared in the void. Each tree grew to 1,000 meters in size, with terrifying tentacles. The other elders also sprinkled green seeds, turning into towering trees in an instant. Blade Storm! Just as the tree world, which covered an area of 4 to 5 kilometers, was formed, the 9 flood dragons' bodies trembled. Green energy floated up from the scales, and each energy was the same size as the scales. The 9 flood dragons moved, and hundreds of thousands of wind attribute scales charged towards the book world. Crash! The terrifying storm of blades tore apart all the trees like a level 10 gale. Careful! At this moment, a bolt of lightning descended from the sky and attacked an immortal god. Wooden ring! The old man's expression changed slightly. He waved the staff in his hand, and a wooden hoop met the bolt of lightning. Crack! In an instant, the wooden hoop turned pitch black under the attack of the lightning. Whoosh! A lightning spear seemed as though it was about to tear apart the void. It carried a terrifying might as it pierced towards the old man. Following that, Aochi held the lightning hammer in his hand as he approached the old man. The old man's expression changed slightly. He originally had the strength of a middle-level immortal. Even if he was facing Aochi of the lightning attribute, who was restraining him, he could still resist and even gain the upper hand. However, he had to be careful of the white figure in the air, so that it did not dare to release 100% of its power. The other immortal gods of the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine were the same. After the white figure assassinated an immortal god, it once again escaped into the air. Perhaps the next time it attacked, there would be more deaths. I'll roast you. At the side, an old man with a face full of rage raised his beard. He furiously waved the staff in his hand and attacked Ao Shrimp. Ao Shrimp's golden body was like a heavenly soldier. His huge pincers could easily break metal and rock. A set of fire rings descended from the sky and fell toward Ao Shrimp. Ao Shrimp's gaze did not change. His body continued to approach the old man. Die! Seeing that Aosher did not dodge, the old man's eyes flashed with a sharp light. The rings of fire exploded, becoming even more ferocious. Whing! At this moment, a jade-blue stream of water appeared out of thin air on Aosher's body. The stream of water formed an armor, instantly lifting up a space. Not good, help me. The old man's expression instantly changed, and he cried out for help. However, at this moment, there was no one else who could help him. The two immortal sects already had 6 fewer immortal gods than the Dragon Gate. Only a middle-level immortal could deal with 2 of them. A lower-level immortal could not even protect himself. Caw. The huge pincers attacked, and the 2-meter-long metal pincers became bigger again. They actually became 5 meters in size. The pincers clamped down heavily, causing the old man's face to turn pale. His staff shone with light. Boom! His entire body was instantly surrounded by flames that were like lava. Crack! Crack! However, under the terrifying pincers, the lava directly collapsed. Fire escape! He waved his arm, and a fire tunnel instantly appeared in front of him. His body quickly retreated. What? However, at this moment, a water tentacle had somehow trapped his legs and completely pulled his body. With a wave of his arm, a fiery red liquid that was like a drop of water directly slashed at the water tentacle. Whing! At this moment, 2 pincers attacked him. Ah! The old man's face was filled with shock. With a shake of his legs were directly shattered to the knees. His crippled legs erupted like a god of fire. Boom! 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 10,000 meters in the air, it was as if a volcano had appeared out of thin air. Terrifying lava erupted from it. The lava waterfall fell towards the ground. The terrifying fire energy landed on the ground and formed a huge sea of flames. The energy contained within the body of an immortal god expert was extremely terrifying. Can you escape? At this moment, an icy voice sounded from behind. A claw pierced through the chest of the elder who had just tried to escape. Cough cough. The elder spat out blood. His eyes were dim as his body fell to the ground. He already had a premonition that this battle was a one-way ticket to death. That was why he gave up his legs and went all out. He wanted to kill one, but unfortunately, one immortal god was enough to suppress him. He was no match for the other 2. The second immortal god is dead. The experts and immortal gods watching from afar said in their hearts. Suppression, 100% suppression. They discovered that the 2 immortal gods of the Dragon Palace could fight against a middle-level immortal. 2 immortal gods could kill a lower-level immortal without being injured. The difference in strength between the immortal gods of the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect and the immortal gods of the Dragon Palace was simply too great. I reckon that apart from the Supreme Elder of the upper-level Immortal Sect who managed to escape, everyone else is finished. Chapter 8:11, Under the Terrifying Battle of Roar. On the other side, Ao Chichen, who held the sea-pacifying divine needle in his hand and was 7 to 8 meters in size, looked like a devil monkey. It was too violent. There were a total of 3 middle-level immortals in the Holy Medicine Immortal sect. However, at this moment, the violent Ao Chichen was fighting one of them with his own strength. The terrifying flames attacked him. The violent demonic chi, together with the 50-meter-long sea-pacifying divine needle, swept through everything. Whether it was the sea of fire, the flaming lava, or the pillar of fire, they were all forcibly blocked by his violent attacks. The ocean-pacifying divine needle was an existence that far surpassed ordinary immortal god artifacts. It could become 50 meters long, and when it was waved, it could simply destroy the world. In the area where Ao Chichen was fighting with the middle-level immortal of the Holy Doctor and Holy Medicine, no one dared to enter the area. On the other side, Prime Minister Gui was standing on top of a flood dragon, and a 100-meter-wide earth wall appeared out of thin air. Terrifying wind blades, storms, and the flood dragon's powerful physical body, the immortal gods in front of them were defending passively, their faces filled with fear. There was no room for resistance at all. Move the mountain. At this moment, Prime Minister Gui's body shook, and the turtle shell on his back flew higher into the sky. Boom! Instantly, a 1,000-meter-tall mountain appeared in the sky, and the mountain smashed heavily towards the lower immortal. Wind domain, binding of wind. Below, the flood dragon's body flashed with a green light, instantly forming a wind domain of 10 kilometers in radius. Within this space, all the wind was within their control. Terrifying green energy shot towards the lower immortal. No, save me! The lower immortal couldn't move. He looked up at the terrifying mountain in the sky, his face filled with despair. Boom! The mountain descended, bringing with it a terrifying power as it smashed towards the ground below. Boom! Another earth-shattering sound rang out as the ground split open. Terrifying cracks spread out in all directions, all the way to the sacred city. The terrifying cracks were 1 meter wide and 100 meters deep. At this moment, all the disciples of the two great immortal sects in the sacred city stood on the streets, their faces filled with shock and fear. They looked at the terrifying sea of fire, the terrifying mountains, and the cracks not far away, their eyes filled with fear. It was the third one. Their immortal god had already died, and not a single one of them had died. Not even a single one was injured. I'll fight it out with you. A subordinate immortal collapsed under the combined attacks of the two flood dragons. Terrifying speed, powerful physical body, and sharp wind blades. In addition to their incomparably powerful bodies, the two flood dragons were completely toying with the subordinate immortal. He had no ability to resist at all. Seeing his companions die one by one, despair appeared on his face. His arms turned into terrifying tree branches that directly twined around the flood dragons. Roar! With a flood dragon roar, the densely packed wind blades slashed towards the tree branches. When the wind blades landed on the tree branches, numerous wounds appeared instantly, and fresh blood flowed out from the tree branches. Die! The middle-aged immortal god's body began to wither, and his black hair slowly turned white. The terrifying tree branches that his arms transformed into were even more terrifying. Rise of the clouds. When the two flood dragons saw that the middle-aged immortal god was actually using up his life force to attack, their expressions did not change, and a gust of wind blew over. At the same time, a large patch of cloud and fog. The cloud and fog instantly filled an area of 10 kilometers. The two flood dragons moved and directly entered the cloud and fog. The divine dragon was nowhere to be seen. The middle-aged immortal god's expression changed drastically, and the tree branches formed by his arms scattered in the cloud and fog. As time passed, his attacks became weaker and weaker, and the life force in his body became less and less. Attacks that cost his life were destined to not last long. Whoosh! 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 Just as the middle-aged immortal god fell into a state of weakness, sharp wind needles pierced through the middle-aged immortal god like terrifying hidden weapons. Ah! An anguished cry sounded out as the middle-aged immortal god's body fell to the ground at a terrifying speed. The fourth immortal god had fallen. At this point, the Holy Doctor, Holy Medicine, and Immortal Sect only had 8 people left. They would fall even faster. Boom! Boom! The battle that shook the heavens and earth spread out in all directions from 10,000 meters in the sky. All of China and the entire Jianghu could hear it clearly. Even the terrifying energy that came from this place spread far, far away. Among the 30 immortal gods, there were 2 high-level immortals. This momentum shook the world. The entire sky was like the end of the world. Any random attack that landed on the ground could cause a sea of fire and a crack. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, one immortal god after another rushed over. The supreme elders of the Xian Yuan clan and the Yuan clan also arrived. The immortal gods of the 2 immortal sects watched the battle in the sky from a distance, their faces filled with shock. Their eyes swept across the entire battlefield and instantly understood. Is this the power of the Dragon Palace? It's too powerful. 4 immortal gods have died from the Holy Medicine and Holy Medicine. 18 immortal gods versus 8. It's a complete suppression. The 2 immortal sects are going to be finished. The Dragon King's strength is really unrivaled. The Dragon Palace should be the most powerful existence in the Jianghu. The immortal gods watched the battle in front of them, and their pupils couldn't help but shrink. Shock appeared on their faces. The immortal gods of the Dragon Palace were really invincible. The supreme elder of the Yuan clan's face changed drastically when he saw how miserable the 2 immortal sects were. Their relationship with the 2 immortal sects could be considered quite friendly. Not long ago, they had even discussed a series of cooperation. Now, when he saw that the Holy Medicine Immortal Sect was about to be destroyed, his expression was somewhat unsightly. Brother Xianyuan, should we stop them? The Yuan clan's supreme elder revealed a hesitant expression as he spoke to the Xianyuan clan's supreme elder at the side. All the immortal sects of the Xianyuan clan fell silent after hearing this. They did not reply as they did not want to interfere. If they were to interfere now, it was obvious that they had offended the Dragon Palace. With the Dragon King's character, the 2 of them were destined to have a rift or even hatred. Dragon King, I think we should just forget about this battle. We should be lenient when possible. You have already killed 5 of their immortals. Let them pay a little more and let's call it a day. The supreme elder of the Yuan clan saw that the Xianyuan clan did not respond. He took a deep breath and said to Wang Xian. What? Are the Yuan clan going to interfere? What are they going to do? The voice of the Yuan clan's supreme elder shocked all the immortals and powerhouses around. They quickly looked over. Brother Yuan, help us get through this crisis. When Bian Jiangtu heard the voice of the Yuan clan's supreme elder, he disregarded his status and asked for help loudly. 4 immortals were killed in just 10 minutes. He was really afraid. You dare to interfere? Wang Xian turned his head and stared at them with a cold gaze. Ah! At this moment, a scream was heard. A terrifying flame suddenly shot up into the sky. Unparalleled pressure, suppress heaven and earth. Chapter 8:12, Suppressed Everything. You dare to interfere? The sudden intervention of the supreme elder of the Yuan clan caused all the surrounding immortals and the powerhouses of the immortal sect to reveal shocked expressions. However, a cold and dignified voice came out of Wang Xian's mouth as he stared coldly in the direction of the Yuan clan. At the same time, the sudden burst of terrifying power caused the expressions of all the immortals to change drastically. The number of immortal gods gathered here had already reached 40 to 50. They were all watching the battle in the air. The sudden burst of power caused everyone's bodies to tremble. Their eyes were filled with shock as they hurriedly looked towards the direction of the terrifying battlefield. It was a woman whose entire body was emitting terrifying flames. This flame was different from the other flames. It was even very different from the supreme elder of the Holy Medicine Immortals sect. The flame had the form of a bird and was somewhat similar to the legendary vermilion bird. Around her body, a 10-meter-long vermilion bird rotated and emitted a terrifying might. The vermilion bird seemed to be alive and was full of spirituality. Just now, the middle-level immortal of the Holy Medicine Immortals sect who had been fighting with it was instantly killed by this terrifying vermilion bird. Chirp chirp. A phoenix cry sounded. Feng Luan took control of her body and looked in the direction of the Yuan clan. For a moment, the supreme elder of the Yuan clan was completely stunned. He opened his mouth slightly and revealed an incredulous expression. Another high-level immortal. The Dragon King's wife is also a high-level immortal. Shocked voices came from the immortal god behind him. The face of the Yuan clan's first elder slowly turned ugly. Looking at the two pairs of cold eyes staring at him, his face changed drastically. What? However, at this moment, all the immortal gods in the Holy Medicine Immortals sect were completely in despair. There was still one more. The Dragon Gate actually had a superior immortal. This completely extinguished all their vitality. The Dragon Palace had 2 superior immortals and 18 immortal gods. They were invincible in this world. Just forget it. The Supreme Elder of the Yuan clan said with an embarrassed look on his face. FUCK, the Dragon Palace, which had 2 high-level immortals and 2 high-level immortals, might not be able to defeat them even if he led all the immortals of the Yuan clan to fight. If the Dragon King came to destroy the Yuan clan in the future because of his interference in this matter, they would be courting death. When the surrounding immortals heard the Yuan clan's supreme elder's words, they were a little stunned and speechless. Now, the Yuan clan no longer had the right to interfere with the strength that the Dragon Palace had displayed. If they interfered, they would be courting death. With the Dragon Palace's current strength, unless the Shenyuan clan and the Yuan clan interfered, it would be possible to stop this war. Today, whoever dares to interfere will be the enemy of the Dragon Palace. The Holy Doctor and Medicine Immortals sect will be annihilated by the Dragon Palace today. When Wang Xian saw the Yuan clan's supreme elder retract his words, he snorted coldly and shouted loudly. When Bian Jiangtu saw this scene, his body couldn't help but tremble. Help me kill him. At this moment, Wang Xian turned to look at Feng Luan and said to her. All right. Feng Luan's eyes sparkled as she stared at Wang Xian's body. This was the first time she saw Wang Xian in battle. It was the first time she saw him transform into a divine dragon. On the Transcendence continent, there was a dragon race that was the most powerful existence in the entire continent. Even when she was at her peak, she didn't dare to provoke such a terrifying race. Moreover, she also knew that the divine dragon race was a race that was comparable to their vermilion bird race. Chirp chirp. A phoenix cry sounded. Feng Luan's figure moved and directly jumped into the center of the vermilion bird. With a flap of her wings, she directly became 20 meters in size. Hiss! Too strong. Today, the Holy Medicine Immortals sect is completely finished. The surrounding immortal gods and other experts looked shocked when they saw the 2 terrifying creatures, dragon and phoenix, attacking the flat territory. Even if I die today, I will drag one of you down with me. Despair. Bian Jiangtu was in complete despair when he saw this scene. The flames on his body dyed the entire sky red. The scene of the flames burning the sky could be seen within a radius of 100 kilometers. Fight to the death. Wang Xian and Feng Luan saw the aura emitted by Bian Jiangtu. There was no expression on their faces. They moved and attacked instantly. Dragon roar. Phoenix cry. Roar. Roar. Chirp. Chirp. 2 terrifying flames were spat out from Wang Xian and Feng Luan's mouths. Flames versus flames. Bien Jiangtu waved his arms and the terrifying fire pillars on his arms met the flames directly. He blocked the flames with a cold gaze. Roar! Roar! At this moment, Wang Xian moved his body and flew toward Bien Jiangtu. He swung his sharp metal dragon claws forward. Volcanic descent. Bien Jiangtu waved his arms with an embarrassed expression. In an instant, a terrifying flaming mountain formed in the sky. The flaming mountain smashed towards Wang Xian rapidly. Phoenix feather. Feng Luan shouted softly. With a flap of her wings, feathers flew towards the volcano. The feathers rotated slowly. It was beautiful and looked like a flaming flower. The phoenix feathers landed at the bottom of the flaming mountain and entered it directly. Boom! In an instant, the flaming mountain erupted into the surroundings. Bien Jiangtu's expression changed drastically as he looked at Wang Xian who was attacking him. His arm turned into a huge flaming arm in an instant. The flaming red arm crossed in front of him to block his attack. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Wang Xian's eyes revealed a hint of disdain. His sharp metal dragon claws easily penetrated the flaming red palm and clawed at his body. Ah! His eyes were wide open. With a loud roar, the flames on his body were retracted into his body. His entire body was like a lava stone that had existed for tens of thousands of years. Is it useful? Wang Xian's eyes were like torches. A dazzling golden glow was emitted from the dragon claws. The terrifying golden glow penetrated the dragon claws and clawed towards his body. Bien Jiangtu retreated backward with an embarrassed expression. Crack! Crack! The dragon claw touched his arm and produced a cracking sound. Hiss! Instantly, Bien Jiangtu's forehead was filled with cold sweat. His entire arm fell downwards like a rock. Boom! His arm landed on the ground. The area within a few thousand meters of the ground was charred black. Ah! At this moment, screams of pain could be heard from the surroundings. There was more than one scream. An old man was pierced through the chest by a lightning spear. A middle-aged man was entangled by a flood dragon. A red-haired old man was hit by Ao Qitian's ocean-pacifying divine needle and fell heavily to the ground. An old woman was torn into two pieces by Ao Shrimp's pincers. All the surrounding immortals and gods looked at this scene with complicated and even fearful expressions. I'm not reconciled. Bien Jiangtu turned his head when he heard the screams. His eyes were instantly filled with blood and his face was filled with despair. The experts of the Dragon Palace had killed the immortals and gods of the Holy Medicine Immortals sect. Not a single one of them had died. They were not even seriously injured. He regretted it so much. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.